Happy Monday, everyone. It's time for Versus. Today on the show, test screenings for Fantastic Four and Superman have occurred. Reshoots have occurred. Should we be worried? Plus, the box office massacre this weekend. Good news and bad news for films in theaters now. Plus, even more breaking news involving Jurassic World Rebirth and others. By the way, I have con crud. That's right. I was at Monsterpalooza all weekend, and I went hard. I went hard at Monsterpalooza. So let's bring everyone on. Let's bring on our returning champions. Let's start the show. Everybody, hey, how's it going? Happy Monday. Wait, where's Alan?
Hello, Chris. I was informed by my AI that even though I am in a lot of woke movies, you and Alan appreciate me as an actress. So thank you for that. And yes, I will say it. Alan, 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 Alan.
Why do you get the special intro?
Because I'm a nice person.
Exactly. Hey, good to see everybody. I'll say I had a blast at Monsterpalooza. I put up a couple videos, and there's something I cannot show on the stream. I can't post public, only for members. A shirt that I think I should buy Alan. If you are a member to the channel, go watch that video. I tour the floor. I found the perfect shirt for Alan. We'll see. And then I recorded panels for Hellboy, Screamboat, among others. I'm still uploading stuff. And the Hellboy panel was amazing with Ron Perlman, Doug Jones. They have such a rapport. And now I understand. Ron Perlman can't stand Doug Jones because he always makes him look like an asshole. I can relate. So there you go. But let's talk to everybody here and get things started. I'm so happy you're here. Let's go.
Based on his social media, Ron Perlman makes himself look like an asshole. But yes, very happy to be here. Really excited, interested to talk about Warner Brothers and Superman and Fantastic Four and those test screenings. You know who I am.
I'm ready for more MCU. Marvel is safe.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm bad on the effects today.
Dante from Verbal Riot, and I still have not seen Lilo and Stitch.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, ready to chop it up and talk about all these great topics. What's up, chat?
Alan, film thread. I've already written my bad review of Fantastic Four because we hate everything. You hate everything. You hate everything. You looking for the video? Is that the deal?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the video.
Yeah.
I can't find it. It's all good. Hey, odd weekend at the box office. Let's talk about it. Alan, if you would put up the numbers.
Yes.
Put up the numbers here. All right. Let's see. Where are we at?
We're at the top with number one, Lilo and Stitch, dropping 58%. Mission Impossible dropped 57%, and I think it's because they only added four theaters to the weekend.
Yeah, what was it? So 27.2 million for Mission Impossible and Karate Kid Legends opening weekend. Alan, you were there. You saw it.
I was. Yes,
and
21 million.
Much? Okay,
21 million.
Go down the line. Give me the number.
Yeah, here we go. And then the old standards are back. Final Destination comes in at 4. Bring Her Back, a new movie with 7 million. Sinners gets another 5. Thunderbolts, Friendship, The Last Rodeo, J-Hope Tour, Hope on the Stage in Japan Live comes in 10th, and The Accountant 2. And then inching its way more and more to $1 billion is as I hit the button here is Minecraft, almost at $9.5 million.
948. Wow.
Yeah.
Go back to that. Sinners. Damn, this is the surprise hit of this year at number 6, dropped from number 5. Cumulative U.S. domestic 267 million. It's made its money back theatrical. I'm sure it'll be a huge hit on digital and when it goes to Max. Any other
Clout. He's
takeaways?
making money in clout. Everyone loves Coogler
Yeah,
now.
good for Ryan Coogler. Let him do original stuff that he owns.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts, though, looking to not even match Captain America: Brave New World. What are other takeaways that you guys see? Karate Kid, kind of, it's okay, debuting at number 3, 21 million. What are your thoughts?
I think horror movies are always a safe bet.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
100%. But Sinners also goes kind of beyond horror. I think that's what
Well, I'm talking
distinguishes
about that in Final Destination, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think those are sure bets.
Did you
Although I'm
see
a little surprised on the Bring Her Back numbers. I thought it would do a little bit better.
it's
because-
really not as good as their first movie, I gotta say.
And
Talk to me.
824 isn't exactly the marketing dynamo that you'd expect them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
I mean,
No,
they're still
no,
pretty-
it's fine. No, I was just like, Talk to Me was really good. I liked it, and I thought that would build some momentum for those filmmakers, and apparently not.
What
Yeah.
what do we think the legs are on Mission Impossible? Because I'm kind of surprised to see it past 350. Does this beat Captain America? Does it cross 4?
Yeah, well, you add in the international almost doubles the domestic in terms of box office. So
Yeah.
it's gonna for sure get to a $500 million.
And what was the budget on this again?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
No, it's yeah.
They're not making their money back without $1 billion. That's for sure.
It'll
Yeah.
do well in the compilation set when you buy it all together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am not shocked by Karate Kid Legends. I don't know. I just think people are kind of burned out on the franchise. I think after Cobra Kai was a good send off for that franchise. Like, I don't think we needed another movie.
Yeah, and the sequel to the Jaden one,
Yeah, we just
was.
I like that they brought those two movies together, but I didn't care, to be honest, about this. I thought Cobra Kai ended and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie was made for the Gen Z. That
the Cobra
age
Kai
group.
fans that they tried to.
That
Come on,
and
guys.
I mean, if you've seen it, it's shot for Gen Z. It's not for old Karate Kid fans in any way. Just the fact that Ralph Macchio shows up just is it's the nostalgia that is for us, but it's basically a Gen Z film for young folk.
So what you're saying is this was another film and they decided to cash in on Cobra Kai and
To be fair, at least he learns karate, because in the last one he learned kung fu in the Karate Kid movie. So at least he is learning. They tried.
Yeah,
I
I
guess the
just don't
question
know.
is just how high does Lilo and Stitch go?
A
Does it get to
billion.
$1 billion?
It'll
And that's
get
it?
there.
Does it just stop at $1 billion? Does
We're
it?
at we're at
Oh,
600
yeah.
million right now.
that's
600 million worldwide, 2 weeks,
That's
weekends.
insane.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Steph,
it'll
I mean,
hit a
do
billion.
you still feel very strongly about this movie? Because I saw a friend of all the channels, Kata, like F everyone. I hate everyone that's supporting this movie. But I got friends that would be very apt. You know them, Nerd Wars Gooch, that would be like, if there was a bunch of propaganda, they'd be screaming about it, and they all loved it.
It's not. I wouldn't say loved it. It's more like it's inoffensive. It's
Offensive.
inoffensive. It's just it's safe for your family to go. Kind of
Right.
like an old classic Disney movie from years gone by. So
Yeah.
and they didn't. They did make changes that pissed off a lot of people, though.
But not enough to not get a great box office out of it.
Well,
Yeah.
wait. Who did it piss off though? Adults or kids?
Yeah, I think it's fans of the original.
Okay,
Fans of
so
the
fans of the
so
original.
not kids then, because obviously
Yeah.
kids are the
Yeah.
determining factor in this right now.
Look, you mentioned horror is a reliable genre. So is family, and so is faith films. Lilo and Stitch falls in that family category. It's safe. You can take your kids to see Lilo and Stitch, and that's what families are doing. Horror films, again, reliable, and faith films. Last Rodeo is doing fairly well considering, it was probably shot under the right budget, and so it will make money.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue talking about box office. Or before we do that, let's go to comments here. Badger, we got some chat comments and questions. Let's get to that.
Omari Seth became a YouTube member. Shout out, Omari.
Check out the members only videos.
Toga Free for $4.99. Whatever happens with James Gunn's Superman, thank God we didn't get Man of Steel 2 with Michael Bay. Don't need more Jesus imagery and murder/destruction. Hi, Robert. Happy birthday.
Hello.
Good to see you, Rob.
It's good to be here. Sorry I was a little late. Our camping show ran a little long today.
I was watching you.
I had to drive back. It's about a 45-minute
fun.
back.
There you go.
I actually wouldn't mind a Michael Bay Superman film.
I was going to say it would have been fun.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jingoistic Americana.
Yeah.
Remember? Great.
Fun.
Damien J for 5. Well, this should be an interesting topic, especially this potentially hot, steaming, stinking pile of skunk Fantastic Four coming out soon.
Wait, what?
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah. Let's not be like Alan. And
we're only basing it off of the marketing, the press tour, all the toys coming out,
the mid-to-met test screenings or whatever. It's fine.
That's the only reason.
We don't hate everything. We don't hate everything.
No, just a lot of it.
Look, on the contrary, I want to love stuff. I am seeking to love things. But
me too. I've always that's my go-to position.
It's all of our go-to positions, but people for some reason think we hate everything. So
no, we don't.
That's why I was so disappointed in Lilo and Stitch. I really wanted to like it.
Yeah. Shout out to Cash Kester. Appreciate you, dude. Love your smoking memes. And Pilgrim Media became a YouTube member. A couple more here, and then we'll launch in.
Bacharni Arnason for 750 Martian pesos. Rachel Zegler for Mobland Season 2 as Snotty Harrigan you love to hate.
Jesus.
Yeah, the Mobland season finale was amazing. It wrapped up most of the season-long conflicts.
No spoilers.
Left things open for a season 2 and left it in a weird place. I cannot wait for season 2. What a very satisfying season finale and a great show.
So did the mob get their land?
The mob got the land.
No,
reparations.
That's all we ask.
I don't approve of that thumbnail. Ryan White for 10. I discovered and subbed to all of you guys, Nerdrotic Geeks and Gamers, because of the Acolyte. How much did your channel jump in subs from the Acolyte? And how much more do you think they'll jump because of Ironheart? Shout out to Jord Vandar from the Acolyte. $9.
In 1 month, Alan and I on Film Threat, it jumped 10,000.
Wow.
So
let's just say Disney has been very good to us.
I jumped 40%.
We hit 100,000.
I measured it out.
Yeah.
We hit 100,000 because of the movie Wish.
Yeah, we did. But I don't think there's that as much interest in Ironheart. Not even interest in hating on it.
No, and Skeleton Crew got depreciating. You know what I'm saying? The rub, it just isn't there anymore.
Yeah. Anyone else care to share how Acolyte changed their lives?
I got a couple hundred for sure, and we all bonded together.
Yeah,
even Prequel and OT guys were in arm in arm. Like, look, we can't abide.
Look, we need a diss track. All right, Dominique Thorne, we need a diss track. Let's go, man. Come on. Diss us.
I do think though that
videos, but my Twitter did go up in numbers because I was posting a lot of stuff.
Cool.
Star Wars, though, of any kind, like the biggest jump my channel ever had was when I was leaked the Duel of the Fates script, and I was the first person to report on it.
That was great.
I want to know. I don't even know the entire story behind that, but let's just say that was a very calculated thing that somebody very high up did on purpose.
Wow.
And I was sent, in addition to that, I was sent all this artwork that I didn't use. A lot of people got copyright strikes after they used that artwork, so I was glad I didn't. But nothing made my channel jump more in subscriptions than that.
That was objectively a better story.
Way better.
Way better than the hodgepodge we got from JJ.
And I think that JJ just came in and rewrote the whole thing to get the money. I mean, the thing about Bad Robot's involvement in the Star Wars franchise is they did everything they could. They were not able. They thought Star Trek was going to make them a fortune. They thought they were going to have all the merchandising and everything. They even tried to get them to not sell any merchandise from the old shows.
Wow.
And when they
Stuff
took
that sells.
of course, yeah, and of course Paramount said, "No way, we're not going to do that." And then they realized they couldn't control the marketing. But in Star Wars, they were able to build more into it. That's why you got a red arm 3PO and a rectangular dish on the Millennium Falcon.
Right, right.
Good story for another comic that we'll ignore when Andor comes out. Sorry. Pilgrim Media for 2. Ladies and Germs, Tampa, Florida. Thanks you.
Well, that's great. Thank you.
Shout out.
And a quick reminder before we get things started, go to shop.filmthreat.com. I'm going to put this up. Just go there now. You can get the shirt I'm wearing, the Camp Film Threat shirt. You can get the Camp Film Threat pin mug thing here that I've got.
Oh.
Come to camp. There's even a bucket hat covered in VHS tapes. Great designs by Atomic Lori. We appreciate her.
When's
That's
the
awesome.
Film Threat popcorn bucket coming?
The Film Threat before the end of the year, we will do a popcorn bucket, and it will be offensive.
Yes.
I promise it'll be offensive. So,
Heck yeah.
I'm getting my cast of my butt next week. So
yeah,
Popcorn.
the popcorn comes out. That's where the butter comes out, actually. Alan.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hey,
no, that comes out my pee-pee.
Hey now.
Scarlett
This is a
Johansson.
family show, sir.
Flip.
Scarlett
Flip.
Johansson is well respected, loved as her character Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's in Jurassic World Rebirth, and someone thought it was a good idea for her to do a video on X that is, well, I don't know how to describe it. It's Dinosaur Day ASMR. I mean, is there a
love
day
it.
for everything now? Everything's a day.
It's like the Madam Web ASMR thing that Dakota Fanning did. This is keep doing these, ladies.
Dakota
Well,
Johnson.
Dakota Johnson. Dakota Fanning.
Let's take a listen and see if this will convince anyone to go. It got really quiet when she
I
started
know,
talking.
I don't want to
That,
ruin it for anyone.
We were all
No.
locked in.
Hey,
Everybody
James,
got
guys.
really
I was like,
quiet.
slow down, baby. Slow
30
down.
chunk
Can
is
you,
all we
can you
needed.
play that again, Chris?
Look, you RMB, you worked at studios. How many meetings did it take to come up with all these ideas and memos? And we have to book her, and then you've got to get the makeup artist, and car service brings her to a location to shoot all these promos for TikTok and social media. I mean, you know what goes into a simple 1-minute video like that. It's
Yeah,
not
but now we're
simple.
talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Here
So
we
it
are.
worked. Whether
Yeah,
it
it
worked
did
or
work.
not, or whether it was a good idea, it certainly. I mean, look, you know what this is though? It's fun.
I would say it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And at the end of the day, isn't that movies, if they're nothing if not fun, like that's why we love movies so much, is because of the entertainment experience they bring us.
Yes.
And I like seeing an actress like Scarlett Johansson. They probably backed up a lot of money to her house to pay this or to do this.
Right.
But also maybe her husband, on Saturday Night Live, and maybe
They wrote a few of those.
I think one of the reasons she wanted to be in this movie is because she wanted to have some fun.
Plus, she said yes to this. Remember, there was a story that they were going to pay her to open an Instagram and chill. She's like, "No, that's stupid. I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
But then she said yes to this, so this must have felt just fun. It was pitched
Yeah.
normally to her.
Because what
Yeah,
a
it's-
goofy thing.
It's gonna be a video game. That's what got me, is one of the last trailers when they explained it like that. Oh, it's a video game. Go to the island, get the
It's-
DNA from the 3 things, and get the hell out of Dodge and
See, to
watch
me-
Scarlett Johansson be Scarlett.
It's
The
a
Jurassic
video
World
game
movies
plot.
have always been like that. Like the Jurassic World movies have all been just goofy, dumb fun. So why not just lean into it? Yeah, we're having fun. We're gonna have AMSR Scarlet, dropping, little hints
Yeah.
for you guys. I have no problem with this. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm good with it.
I think
Well-
it's silly. I think it's silly and cringe. I remember when the Agatha All Along stars, like the girls, did ASMR too, leading up to the Agatha All Along first episode. They also did ASMR. I just find it
Yeah.
funny and a little bit contradictory, because ASMR, like now you have like different types of ASMR, but before, what the type of ASMR that Scarlett Johansson is doing and that we've been seeing is, the cam girl with the thing and like different things. And the way it started, it's a very sexual type of thing. And that's how, the streams go with like the girls in the tiny tops. And they now have like ears that they can suck on with this. And Scarlett Johansson, has talked about,
She
sexist
should have done
sexism in Hollywood. but more than
Yeah.
willing to do
I'm
it.
having
and
trouble
ASMR
visualizing
type
that, Steph.
thing.
Can you?
Point, you're right. Yeah.
You know what, Alan? Alan, go to Twitch.
Naughty.
Go to Twitch. You'll see it all over the place.
Yes, it's all
Yeah,
over
oh,
the
yeah.
place.
To
So,
be
I don't
fair,
know,
a
I find it a little
dinosaur,
bit
but
I don't like it.
I got this at Monsterpalooza this weekend. I believe the creature's name is Gyra. It's from the Gamera movies. You might remember that one.
For some reason.
So it's 3D printed and hand painted. And
I thought you was about to do some AMSR.
oh my God, it's so great. I'll talk about it more on Wednesday. I have videos to show. Anyways, look, they have to be clever because you know what's not working? The death of the junket. We have many friends, Alan, that are in the CCA who are on the junket circuit who do some of the biggest stars and get 12 views. When we showed that Lilo and Stitch junket Q&A with the young girl who played Lilo, she's adorable and charming. It was a gag. We were leaning into it and overreacting. Alan and I had fun with it, although Alan not as good as an improviser as I thought.
No, you're not good at setting up jokes.
Yeah, well, that
was
can
the lamest
also
part.
Mom,
You start
Dad,
with the
seems
lamest
like
Two
part.
uncomfortable when
Yeah.
you fight.
Two things can be true at once, Alan. I am not
No,
good.
you
and
had
you are
started
also not.
strong. It would have been a better bit. But
All I'm saying is I'm seeing these junket. It is not effective. That was effective. So my argument is that was effective. It was fun. No, you're not pitching an outlet. You're not crafting. It's these outlets now on YouTube where they do the junket interviews for whether it's Wicked or whatever. No one wants to watch them. They're too fake. Now, obviously, it's no more or less fake than what we just saw, but that was entertaining.
She didn't make an immigration analogy or do any stupid politics.
Right.
She just played with dinosaurs instead of ASMR and talk about the movie. So she's doing what we said they should do.
Well, also, I
think
think
of that?
junkets work better on TV than they do on internet, right? Like I don't know. If you look at like Access Hollywood, any of these shows, the junkets are just fine. They're getting plenty of views. People are watching that. People don't go to YouTube to watch junkets.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
also
I mean,
junkets
doing
used to
ASMR
be,
is definitely safer than answering questions where you can just pull something and say something incorrectly.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing about a junket was whenever you see a celebrity interviewed, the whole point of that is to have the person who's watching the interview feel some kind of a personal connection to that celebrity. You know, you want to hear from them. And from my years and years of interviewing celebrities for DVD special features, like I'll give you an example. When I sat down and interviewed Patrick Stewart, I had 4 hours to interview him.
Wow.
When we started the interview, I said, listen, I don't want to ask you about Star Trek. And he looked at me kind of funny. I go, if I were to ask you about the geopolitical situation between the Romulans and the Klingon Empire at the Battle of Narendra 3, what could you tell me? And he just laughed. He laughed. Oh, he thought it was hilarious. He goes, nothing. He goes, I don't even know what you said. And I said, exactly. I go, the point of this interview is people want to know about you. And so I told him, I want to know what you, Patrick Stewart, we're going to talk about your career. We're going to talk about what you feel. You can say anything you want. And I'm telling you, the audience that's going to watch this knows way more about Star Trek than you've forgotten. I mean, they'll tell you anything about your character that you didn't even know. So if I'm going to sit here, I'm not going to go, tell me about your character of Jean-Luc Picard. That's absolutely useless. It was for DVD interviews because that's not why people sat and watched 10 hours of our Lord of the Rings documentaries. The
difference is with a junket, they have to promote the film, right? They're there to promote the movie. So they have to talk about.
But what I was going to say is that now we see celebrities like you see Scarlett Johansson backstage at Saturday Night Live. We have known because of social media, we get to know these people already. And so when Scarlett Johansson does this thing, it tells us more about her that she's playing with dinosaurs doing ASMR. That would make me more interested in going to see Jurassic World Rebirth because she's doing something goofy that makes her more likable to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fact that she just did that, I want to support somebody who's going to do that. You've got my support.
Which should be the point of a press junket, by the way, and things like that. You're supposed to like the people involved. You see, oh, look how affable and nice they were. I want to go see them and support them.
Even if it's fake. Even if
it's fake. I don't care. Just give good press interview. They don't. They make you actively hate them and then yell at you when you don't go to see their movie.
Plus, and here's the thing. When you're doing ASMR, you're not saying anything stupid, right? So I'd rather they all do ASMR, to be honest with you. Just stop
Maybe
talking.
something
Just everybody. Mark Ruffalo, do ASMR.
or do things that convey who you are as like look, I used to love to watch. I love to watch Dakota Johnson. You know, when she was on the road tub thumping for Madam Web, she was like, I don't know anything about this. And she was hilarious. She was hilarious. She was totally off the chain. I love her. Like when she was on Ellen and go, I invited you or you didn't come or whatever. I mean, it was
when she called Ellen out. Yeah.
she had no fucks to give. And I love that about her. And you know, it's a weird, like when celebrities come out and see when they're shilling for movies, they're look, movie marketing is 20 years behind the times.
Yes.
The way that they've been, the way they're trying to market films, and now they're looking at analytics. They're doing when Thunderbolts did their A24 trailer, I'm like, oh, somebody's finally paying attention.
Great trailer.
And the fact that they drew on A24 and literally, like 10 years ago, if you had one movie trying to equate itself to another studio's ad campaigns or their own movies, they would have said, oh, you can't do that. But in our meme world that we live in, doing an A24 trailer for the Thunderbolts was a genius move.
And this was Disney, by the way, who did this.
Someone in there
unbelievable
knows.
And that's how you market. In order to generate interest amongst people today, especially younger people, which are leaving the movie going audience in droves, you have to appeal to their sensibilities because they see right through the bullshit. You know, and so that's why I mean, Pedro licking that light stick. You think he didn't know? You think he didn't know what he was doing? He knew what he was doing.
I think, Rob's right. You got to lean into the lighter side of your own personality. Like whatever you are, regardless of what it is, you know, if you can be a little bit more fun and lighthearted, I think that's what audiences are looking for. They're not looking for heavy-handed political commentary every time you step on the scene. You know,
it's like Robert's point. Robert, he did know because remember he put down Joaquin Phoenix's hand when he was waving. Oh no. So he's not even aware of what he's doing. He's aware of his co-stars. So he knew that licking a big rainbow light pole would.
Of course, but that's why we watch Hot Ones. You know, Hot Ones, a genius show. I mean, and what's the guy's name who
Sean Evans.
Sean Evans. Yeah. His commentary, he is so well researched. He has such great questions. He's a great host. And you put these characters in a scenario, what you get to learn about who they are as people and watching them react. That is an irresistible show. They keep it to a half an hour. And who doesn't want to go on that show?
Yeah. It's such a great show. It's a great concept too, because if they are starting off like, you know, a little bit wooden and, you know, with their Hollywood personality, once they get to, you know, that
their face melting,
different person, that's actually them coming out.
And their face goes purple.
A lot of the questions surprise them too, because they're just like thrown off, like, wow, I've never been asked that, or, you know, I can't believe you remember, or you know that you have a great researcher. Like, it throws them off their game, which is cool because then you get to see the actual person coming.
And often not about what they're promoting at all, as Robert was talking about with Patrick. It gets them talking, and then they feel comfortable. As Rogan has shown, when people feel comfortable, they just start talking shit. And often you go, "Oh, we were live. I probably shouldn't have said what I just said 10 minutes ago."
And they don't understand. I mean, they fail to understand like the junket world. When we live in Joe Rogan's world, where we're watching him talk to somebody for 2 or 3 hours, or even Bill Maher's Club Random now, when they get all high and drink or whatever, and this is what people want to see. This is what people tune in for, and they realize they're not just looking for gossip. You're like, if you like somebody and watch their work, you do want to know more about them as people. Like, what do they think? And not necessarily about their politics, but about their day. Like, why do they choose to? What do they do every day? Like, if
you can't fake it that long, that's why long form works.
You can't.
And also, by the way, I did junkets for years working for G4. I was told when I sat down, you have 4 minutes with Bruce Willis. You can't get to know anyone very well in 4 minutes. I think the format of the junket interview is dead. It's as dead as when The Office, the US version of The Office came along. It killed traditional sitcom with the laugh track, okay? Can anyone watch any of those shows anymore without feeling like you're getting a headache? And I love both the UK and US Office. But then other shows came along and kind of took that format with Parks and Rec or Veep and traditional sitcom. I mean, it's still around, but it seems archaic. And I do think that junkets are going to go the way of the Dinosaur, to tie it in with the movie that Scarlett Johansson is promoting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
not
I
only
mean,
that,
it's like
but,
poetry, it rhymes.
they want that headline too. You know, they want that gotcha. They want that clickbait article. So they're going to ask them incredibly controversial questions in order to
Is
get
it the
that
gayest
that
movie?
article, that title.
Yeah.
Like they're still working on, you know, I want that clickbait title, not let's pull some authenticity out of you. They're not doing that. They're still working on getting that
Yeah.
clickbait article, getting them in trouble. That's what they're working on.
But also, if I were a studio, I would be so reluctant to send these current celebrities out on a junket, man. Like just in fear of what they would say, right? Like if I have a big movie that, you know, a $300 million film, I'd be afraid to send some of these people out to talk to the media.
Yeah. Let's pivot topics to this. I've got a lot of Superman related stories, and we'll get to our main topic where we will debate should we be concerned about test screenings for Superman and Fantastic Four. But let's take a look at a couple of Superman related stories, starting with this: a superhero for all. This quick promo promoting Superman.
Yeah, good. Okay, good work.
How is Superman to work with?
He's fun.
Nice work, everybody. High fives. Boom. Boom. I did meet
Music.
plays. Well, you're doing great work today. Oh, it looks like they might be ready. Are you guys ready?
Let's roll, please. Ready and action.
Why was he dressed like Palpatine? That's what I want to know right there. But what are your thoughts, everyone, on that promo? I think it's sweet.
More of
That
that.
was
less
better
of
than the
James
trailer.
Gunn and his
They put
dog.
that
was
girl
good.
in real danger.
That looked great, man.
Not
That's
one
exactly
mention.
what Superman should be.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that
No-
it's focused on David Cornsweet, his Superman, and he's
Yep.
interacting with kids. He's coming across incredibly likable. He's joking around with them, and then they get the shot. I talked about this last night, but like there's two of them I think that they put out. This one and then another one with James Gunn, and the one with James Gunn was just so incredibly boring. This one was excellent. It needs to be more focused on Superman.
And the music
That's
was
the
Superman
point.
music, not the same Williams with guitar. Like it was the new Superman music, and it sounded great. We need that.
Yeah.
Plus, it also, you know, it gives you that little bit behind the scenes, like what do people do during the day when they're making these things, and you realize it's real people behind the scenes making that material. By the way, Chris, he's wearing that coat. So that's the anti paparazzi that they wear. You're muted.
He's
You're
still
Good. I'm doing something. It's all good.
Oh, but no, and I think that's the way. Again, you're selling the craft and you're selling the character. It's a really brilliant kind of a way to. And again, this is stuff you'd think they would have been doing 10 years ago.
David feels like Superman. That's why I keep saying I think it's going to be successful in spite of James, not because of it, because they're so their characters that it's going to be it's going to be real hard to mess this up. If that what we saw with David and the kids comes through as Superman,
We need more of that, more promos like that with Superman.
I think the next month and a half or the next month or whatever is going to be a lot of that because the previous marketing campaign hasn't really worked out very well. But they said they were going to go into their Barbie marketing mode now. I'm not sure what Barbie.
Right.
I can't remember Barbie other than Barbenheimer. And what Barbenheimer was. I don't know if there's any way they can peel into that, but I think that they're going to go full force and really market the hell out of this thing for the next month before we get to the movie. And so, I'm looking for more of this because this
Superman.
works.
no more James Gunn. Superman.
Yeah, we could get James Gunn. We know you're a good film director, writer, whatever. Great. We're not here for you. Okay. We're here for Superman. We're here for Lois. We're here for Lex. We're here for those main characters. Give us more of that. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I think the Barbie twist is they're trying to lean into the tone of the film as the final marketing piece. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to feel like. You definitely got that with the Barbie promos when Barbie came out.
Well, they would
And
have to
it
pick
will
a
be
tone.
it'll be relentless with all the tie-ins. You've got like Milkbone and among other things, So look, real quick, this story I'm not aware of this. This was put in the document at the last minute from a Japanese website. I've translated it. Badger, if you would.
Yes. Tokusatsu is a Japanese word that literally means special effects. It is primarily used to refer to live action Japanese film and television dramas that make use of special effects. So, in a recent interview, Superman director and DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn revealed that the upcoming film is heavily inspired by Japanese tokusatsu, a genre known for its use of special effects and giant monsters. Gunn, a longtime fan of Ultraman and Kamen Rider, said his childhood love for tokusatsu shaped his filmmaking vision. Ultraman is the father of my love for movies, he shared. The film's trailer showcases a fire-breathing creature labeled as kaiju, paying homage to the towering monsters of classic Japanese sci-fi. Gunn confirmed, we tried to merge elements like giant monsters, robots, flying dogs, and other superheroes, bleeding the spectacle of tokusatsu with the DC universe. Gunn also cited Godzilla -1 as a model for balancing action with emotional depth. My goal is to create a movie like Godzilla -1, where alongside Godzilla, there's also an incredible human drama, he explained. While the film includes fantastical elements like Superman and his flying dog, Crypto, Gunn emphasized the story's emotional core, the relationships between Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor. He sees the project as a return to the essence of Superman, aiming to depict the goodness, kindness, compassion, and respect for human life that define the character, even as those values seem to fade in the modern world.
What do you guys think?
Good luck.
I love it. He's trying to juggle a lot for Superman, but I love it. I think Superman can step into this age and dominate. Based on what we've seen from superhero movies in the past, like we kind of know what a superhero movie is going to be now. He's throwing kaiju in. He's got like giant like eyeballs in the sky shooting down. Like, how's James Gunn going to make all of this work? You know, and we've seen what he's done with Guardians and Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and all of that has been really good. But this feels different. This feels like he's going to try and do something completely different than everything he's done before. And he's using Superman, and he's trying to build a universe with this. So I honestly really am excited to see what he does with this. Is it going to work? I don't know. But, you know, so far, you know, the marketing has not been great. But if he's leaning into some of these, you know, Asian, you know, I guess templates, you know, Tokusatsu, it actually might work. You know, it actually might work, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm always good. I'm always for like a wild swing. I think for James Gunn, even though this is Superman and everybody knows Superman is, this is a wild swing for him, man. It's a big swing because like it's not, he's not a mainstream guy. You know what I mean? He could take obscure characters and make them great. It kind of reminds me of Kevin Smith. You know, it's like when Kevin Smith did Red State. That was so out of pocket and so different from everything he's done before. It was not Jay and Silent Bob. It was like its own very unique movie. Same thing with Walrus. That was a big swing for Kevin Smith. And I kind of feel like for James Gunn, Superman is a big swing. It's not his usual fare, so it can go either way. It could be a huge hit, or he's going to realize that he's just not that guy.
Well, I mean, you know, he's always kind of had the tokusatsu sensibility. I mean, the Suicide Squad bringing Starro into that, you know, and not only that, James Gunn has something that Asian science fiction has always had, which is whimsy, you know, and we don't really do whimsy that well in the West, but anime is all whimsical. If you Matsumoto Leiji, who did designs for like Star Blazers and Captain Harlock, My Youth in Arcadia, or Galaxy Express 999, doing things like putting trains in outer space, which makes no sense. Or even in like Message from Space, the movie the Japanese made after Star Wars, you had a giant three-masted sailing ship in space. You know, and these are really Space Battleship Yamato, Star Blazers, a battleship turned into a spaceship, you know, putting up in space. And there is and all the giant monsters, whether, you know, what Inashiro Honda was doing with all the I mean, might not that he's a composer. E.J. Tsuburaya is the Japanese effects expert. The stuff that he was doing with Ultraman, bringing over the kaiju monsters into shows with superheroes like Kamen Rider. I mean, this stuff is something that we just never did here in the West. And it's interesting to see him because you can totally see that if you look back at all of James Gunn's movies, including the Guardians of the Galaxy films and Slither. There's so much Japanese sci-fi influence in all those. It doesn't surprise me at all that he's doing this. The question is, will American audiences accept that kind of whimsy, especially in a Superman movie?
Well, let's see. The box office prediction for Superman is actually looking pretty good. Let me bring this up, but it's kind of crazy what's being proposed here. While I bring this up, here we go.
Pre-sales haven't happened yet, right?
It's not gone
yet.
for pre-sales yet, but the early box office forecast is opening weekend 154 million to 175 million.
Your DMs are
That's
open.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Damn it.
It's all right.
You saw
Robert saying he can't make it
guys
to the
were-
sex party. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that.
He's busy.
Sorry, everybody. Damn. But so that's really good.
Is it though? Because I got questions. Because I'm not
Okay.
sure I believe this budget that they're saying it is. When a year ago, based on official government records in Ohio, we heard it was very much different.
Yeah.
We heard,
the
we heard it
budget
was
is out of control.
$363 million based on what they filed for tax. So either Gunn is lying or Warner Brothers is lying to the government. I'd love to know which one.
I believe the budget. I believe it's 360 easily. But still 155, 165, somewhere in that range. That's a really good solid start. You got to feel that this is just domestic too, right? This is only a domestic.
Correct.
What's going to do worldwide, and then you got to figure, okay, if this comes in around 300 plus on its opening weekend, that's great. That's a great number because now you have a shot at making $1 billion, which is what it's going to need.
Boy, that is possible. Sorry, someone in the chat said this new budget is after those tax credits. That would be some finagling.
Yeah. But this is good. This is good news for Gunn. It shows that even though we collectively, I think here, most of us have been a little mixed on the trailers and marketing. Rob, in particular, you were not blown away by the trailer.
No, because I don't think they didn't show me a point of view,
right?
Really, and an ad campaign should have a point of view. You know, You'll Believe a Man Can Fly, the first Superman movie with showing you the Bob Peak rainbow that he painted with the Superman logo in the sky, said something. That ad, you know, it and these ads for Superman have not. What are they saying other than the fact that Superman's here? They're not saying anything about what does it mean to see this movie other than it being a Superman film.
Well, that last trailer, right, where she's interviewing him, he's intervening and people don't like it, but they're not making the point that like it's a dark world and he's trying to maybe bring some hope.
Yes,
like, tell a story with that damn trailer.
Yeah, still the story, we don't know a lot about it unless you go on Reddit and read spoiler stuff, but it has to do with some reputation destruction by Lex Luthor, so that's part of it. But you know, we shall see. That's a good sign. I think this is a sign that people want this. People really, really want this, and Marvel is being summarily rejected. If you look at Alan, I think you can look up the Fantastic Four predictions. They are not great at all.
Just look at their trailers. Fantastic Four has just hit 20 million people watching it, and Superman has almost 29, like on the precipice of 30 million.
I think it's really because people have grown tired of Marvel. I think we see the Marvel formula. We see each movie is kind of a jumbled variation of the last one with some new elements, but Fantastic Four looks the most different. But things that we have heard do not sound great. Alan, what are the predictions for FF? When you find it, please butt in and find us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing so far that they're saying 600 million total. But when it's all said and done, I'm not seeing opening weekend. Opening weekend, someone suggested 225 million, but realistically, it's probably gonna be 120 million.
Was that worldwide?
Let's see. Yeah, no, they don't say for sure. No, yeah, it's saying 330 million worldwide, 160 million domestic is the prediction.
Fantastic Four might be like the first family, and they're super important, and the OGs know who they are. But like Superman is the most recognizable symbol, basically, aside from the Christian cross or whatever the hell it is. And it's a return to classic heroes, which people want, fourth turning stuff. But it's just where we are as a civilization. We want heroes again.
Fantastic Four is more popular with comic book fans,
right?
Than than the other characters. Yeah, Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man, but Fantastic Four doesn't even come close to Spider-Man.
Well, with Marvel, I think people have been just let down, with just miss after miss after miss, and it's just like I don't want to spend my time. I'll wait until the reviews come out. Like that's pretty much how it is, how I was for a while. I'll wait for a review and see if I want to spend my time there. But this is something new. It's got a whole different direction with James Gunn. They're redoing DC. And people are taking notice and people are interested in it because it's new and different, and let's see where we go from here. It's the start of something that could be really good. Whereas with Marvel, it's just the same, we're in phase. What phase are we in now?
30th movie or whatever the hell it is.
And they're about to reboot
everything anymore.
Yeah, we're bringing it to an end. We're about to reboot it. Everybody feels it. Everybody knows Marvel is well past the expiration date. And so this is coming in at just the right time. I thought it was interesting that James Gunn is going to Comic-Con this year, and they're going to have a big spread at Hall H on the same weekend that Fantastic Four opens in theaters. So they could steal a whole lot of thunder if they nail this movie, if they have this movie, and then he has a great presentation at Hall H and Comic-Con. He could absolutely take over everything and get people excited about, the DCU.
Absolutely. DC has a big opportunity with Comic-Con, especially since Marvel isn't going.
Yeah,
they need it.
We'll get to that later. I want to talk about this. Both Superman and FF have had test screenings. Things have leaked from those screenings. We've heard mixed to mid, but should we be concerned? We've heard now that Superman may go through some changes, new composer, new editor. Is it too late to fix? What are they fixing? I've not heard of test screenings from Marvel outside of friends and family.
Cutting out jokes, maybe making it a little more serious.
What are your thoughts, everyone, on this?
I think it might be too late to try to fix something. What I heard, just from the rumors, of course, only rumors, but character development was a major issue with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fix character development. All right. You can do things with CGI and, fix it in post, all that. That's fine. But character development,
add more scenes, change scenes.
I mean, you got to bring everybody back or you got to go shoot some stuff over in, because aren't they all in England right now? Like,
don't they have decades of character development in the goddamn comics they could have pulled from?
Oh yeah, they should have probably leaned into that. So I don't know. Fantastic Four is kind of a curious one because it's never really worked. At least long scale in film. They really haven't gotten it 100% right. I think the first Tim Story movie is probably the best that we've gotten from all the different movies. So I don't know. I mean, can they get Fantastic Four right, I guess is the question. But yeah, if they say the character development is bad, listen, character to me is the entire movie. If the characters suck, the movie sucks. I don't like movies with bad characters. So hopefully they can do something with it. Again, I want to love the movie. But
Matt Shackman and Feige were apparently there when someone screamed out mid at the end. Didn't like that. It's weird that I'm not worried about it, but confirmed that Fantastic Four is probably going to be just as meh as Thunderbolts was. Superman, on the other hand, I feel really good that this is happening because it makes it seem like what we thought was true. Gunn put too many jokes and it took away, but it got caught, and they're gonna fucking hone it down. And that's what I hope is happening.
Yep, same here.
Robert, you said a lot with not saying much just now, but
no, I mean, by the way, the thing about we did a story about this morning. The guy who was at that screening that talked to Jeff Snyder about said that no one actually screamed out mid in the screening. That was he said it was but he wrote in, he did a piece and he said this has been misreported. he said a guy that he asked afterwards, he thought it was mid, but he didn't scream it out in the theater. I mean, my concern with this movie is more, and you can see it in the trailers. What is the story of, okay, we know that Galactus comes and he's a threat, but normally in a trailer, you get to see various scenes sprinkled throughout the film where you see the characters. There's been very few scenes of characters responding like, Reed, what should we do? I don't know, Sue, you use your powers to do this or something. There's been all the scenes that we've seen are very generic. The longest scene that plays out is you're pregnant. I mean, that's like the only scene that we get a flavor of these characters. And what does it have to do with the plot other than the fact that Franklin Richards is probably going to be born in this film? Like, why should I go see this movie? Other than the fact that it's about the Fantastic Four.
And we've seen they show up at the end of Thunderbolts, so we all know it's leaked. So we sort of know they leave at the end.
But you never get it. It's really interesting. If you watch the trailer, like for Guardians of the Galaxy, you get a sense that these characters are fun to hang out with. And you've got other characters who are these a-holes. Mm-hmm. The people on Xandar are, and we don't even know where Xandar is yet. You get a sense of the push and the pull of the Guardians of the Galaxy in that trailer. So it's like, oh, I want to go see whatever this milieu, whatever this realm, whatever this world that these characters are and they inhabit. I want to go see this. But the Fantastic Four trailers have only told us that, well, here are the Fantastic Four, but they haven't given me a reason. I know the Fantastic Four. I've read the entire John Byrne run, the Jonathan Hickman run, but why should a regular movie-going audience, aside from the fact that these characters are superheroes, what is it that makes this movie different from Thunderbolts, that makes this movie different from Guardians of the Galaxy? You can't tell from the trailers.
Robert, who was the leader in all of those
Pedro
runs?
Pascal in them. That's what they've got going for them. But those Guardians trailers were extremely fun. They were so fun, and they get you excited to go and see the movie. Even the very last trailer for the Guardians 3, it was so fun. It was a fun trailer. These trailers for the Fantastic Four have been boring. I'm not excited. They're so boring. And they need to be like really good trailers that hit and get you excited for the Fantastic Four, and they don't. They're very boring. And to me, it kind of tells me that, okay, they're not showing a lot. They're probably playing it safe with this movie where people walk out going, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was fine. So that's not an exciting movie. That doesn't get you excited.
No,
I think the biggest problem. Really quickly, I think the biggest problem with the Fantastic Four, at least from what we've seen with these trailers that they've been showing, is that since they're not doing an origin story, right? Because usually an origin story takes up the whole movie, and then they end up fighting Doctor Doom at the end because Doctor Doom's origin is told alongside theirs, blah blah blah. I think because they're jumping straight in without an origin, like we needed to see something happening. And we haven't, and nothing's been happening, right? They're not doing an origin, so they don't have that to lead on. They don't have that crutch. So now what, right? And I guess that leaves them with, well, if your big bad is at the end, what the hell happens during the whole film up until the end? And they haven't been able to show anything. Or maybe, I don't know, like, look, we haven't seen everything. Maybe they're sandbagging it. Maybe they're waiting to the last month to show us, the bells and whistles, but I think it's all marketing. I think
maybe they're sandbagging it, starring Pedro Pascal.
I know.
Silver Surfer. Of course, they're fucking.
I mean, we don't really get a lot of Galactus, right? We don't get a lot of Galactus, and he's the villain. So that's one of the biggest issues is that they haven't shown us a lot of the Galactus. Now they did show us a lot of female Silver Surfer in the last
Sue
trailer.
Storm,
and she shows up.
Confirmed. Sue Storm is confirmed to be the leader by Matt Shackman. She is the leader.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the problem with Galactus, though, man. Galactus, you know what? Look, let's just call it what it is. Galactus is a very boring antagonist. He just is. I mean, he shows up, he eats the planet. It's like there's really nothing more to him than that. So, I mean, he's a celestial, but why would you bring something like that into a first movie?
Thank you. That's what I said. That's like going straight to Dark Side. That's like, yo, slow down. Like, let's build to that. You know,
Slight spoilers that I'm sure people don't care about. I think the whole idea is that she gives birth to Franklin Richards, who has multiverse changing, reality bending powers, and guess how they're going to reset everything eventually. Big MacGuffin, Doctor Doom, kid, whatever they're going to do with it. But that is why they're doing this, because otherwise it really just makes no sense.
You know what? It made more sense though, having Doctor Doom be in this film.
Correct.
This should be the first appearance of Doom.
Yeah.
Right. Then we get Doom the movie. Right. And then Secret Wars.
He might be
that would have made more sense to me.
But you don't go to your big bad, a big bad like Galactus right away. Like Galactus has always been, to me, besides Doctor Doom, their next biggest villain. So, Silver Surfer, the way that they're portraying her in this particular movie doesn't make it feel like she's going to be a villain throughout this entire film. So yeah, the trailers haven't really shown us much. We don't know what the stakes are. We just know that she shows up. Are you the protectors of this world? Yes. And then chaos ensues. That's really all we know. So we don't know what happens. Is the Silver Surfer a threat before Galactus shows up? Like, what's going to happen? We don't really know. And yeah, that's kind of a lack of the marketing. The marketing is definitely lacking in this film.
Right, but the problem with Galactus is we would have the same sense of danger if a meteor was coming to Earth to destroy it, right? That's what Galactus is. He's the equivalent of a meteor coming to Earth. Where's the fun in that? Where's the action in that?
Well, all the test screen says Galactus is the best part. Saying Galactus is the best part of the test screen.
Okay, but is that good or bad? Right?
So especially if he's only in there for 20 minutes.
If he's only in at the end and he's the best part, then we're going to sit through 2.5 hours of bullshit.
Boring. Then the rest of the movie must be boring. If the ending of the movie, the action is the best part.
But that's what you guys just kind of nailed. What I've felt from the trailer, it feels like the movie's not very full, in the sense that it doesn't feel like the trailers have not given me a full meal. They've introduced me to Fantastic Four, and then Galactus is here. So how is that different from the other Fantastic Four movies that have already been made? Like, this is supposed to be, I want to see, like, when I think about Byrne's run, John Byrne, when he took over Fantastic Four, he often said that the success of the Fantastic Four was because they were a family, but he also was able to utilize these giant cosmic ideas, and he really understood how to use his characters well. And I'm like, are the only characters in this movie the Fantastic Four and then Silver Surfer and Galactus?
Well, you kind of have to go out of your way to watch all of the little supplemental commercials to see, and then look into all the leaks. But it does look like most of the film, at least the first half, is showing the Fantastic Four, that they're the stars of their universe, the only heroes. Mr. Fantastic has like a Bill Nye the Science Guy. Mr. Fantastic explains. So they're going to do all of that, Ed Sullivan analogies, while revealing she's pregnant, what that would change. Mole Man will show up and they'll fight him. That'll be like the first part. And then the dramatic of the Silver Surfer shows up to upset that balance. And what are they going to do? Like, I could see it, but I don't care about Pedro. That's the problem, is I have no goodwill to make me think that this is going to be great and done well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want it to be good. I really do. I would like to really love this movie.
Galactus seems like the first thing they can't solve, because that's why they show Pedro. Will you say? I don't know. I don't. It's the first time he doesn't know. And like, but again, it's Pedro. So it's very hard for me to get jazzed up about that whole thing, because he's just ruined it for me. I don't know.
Well, compounding. Like how wooden he plays Reed Richards. He's just not Reed Richards, man. Look, as much as I don't like the guy, I've seen him do better in other roles, right? I just don't buy him as Reed Richards.
Well, he wasn't the first choice either. They went through, they tried 3 other people before they went to him.
Man.
Well, compounding.
And it shows because people are like, that's not Reed Richards. This doesn't feel like Reed Richards. Oh my gosh, Pedro again. So yeah, he wasn't their first choice, but it says something that multiple actors passed on a Fantastic Four movie for Marvel. And Pedro was just like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. He accepts any role. But it says something about the state of Marvel that actors are like passing on it. They're like, no, thank you. I don't want to go there.
All right. Well, compounding upon Marvel's problems, where is it? Marvel is skipping Comic-Con's Hall H this year. Let me pull up the story. And Badger, I believe you have the
I do.
You have the highlights of this story. Here we go.
Rest in peace, Chris Gore. Marvel Studios will not be taking the stage in San Diego Comic-Con's iconic Hall H this year, marking another notable absence from the Spotlight event. The decision follows Disney and Marvel's move to delay Avengers Doomsday to December 2026, allowing the studio to aim its major fanfare at Comic-Con 2026 instead. While Marvel won't headline Hall H in 2025, it won't be entirely absent from the July 24th through 27 convention. The studio still plans to host its usual panels centered on comics and games and will maintain a booth presence promoting the upcoming reboot, The Fantastic Four First Steps, which releases that same weekend. Marvel made waves at last year's Hall H presentation by announcing Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars and revealing Robert Downey Jr. would portray Dr. Doom. With Doomsday now set for December 18th, 2026, and Secret Wars for December 17th, 2027, the studio is clearly positioning its next Avengers chapter for a major future rollout. Not the first time they have opted out. Similar moves have happened in 2011, 2015, and 2018, and during the pandemic. As the convention season heats up, Marvel's next big appearance is slated for CCXP Mexico, where the Fantastic Four team will take the stage this Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, there are two basic stories here. One is the fact that Marvel's skipping out on Hall H. The other one is how important is San Diego Comic-Con? It's over the years, I remember going, and it was this giant event. All the studios were there. All the studios had booths. These last few years, especially after the pandemic, unless something really big has been coming out, no one shows up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What do you all
look forward to the Hall H announcements? I really used to look forward to the Hall H announcements. I couldn't wait to see what was coming up, and like Marvel not being there, they're just gonna have a booth. I mean, really, they can't really top, Robert Downey Jr. coming out and just going like that.
They don't really have much to announce.
I feel like they're scrambling right now. They're really scrambling right now because, we're getting Avengers Doomsday, but what's the story leading up to Doomsday? I have no idea.
None of us do.
I have no idea what the story is leading up to Doomsday. So they're scrambling. Yeah. They're really struggling to put together something cohesive. Of course, they're not going to Comic-Con.
But also,
and not only do they not have a story, do you not know what Doomsday is about? In your mind, what are you anticipating it might be about? No one has any even thought about whether this is going to be something we're going to look forward to.
Well, yeah, that's why they got Robert Downey Jr. back, right? To get us excited about it, because if it weren't for him, no one would care.
Mm-hmm.
No one would care if Robert Downey Jr. weren't involved in this.
Yeah. Even Comic-Con is also not as popular as it used to be, because as a fan, when you go to Comic-Con, you want to get all the awesome toys and see all your franchises, except all those franchises have been more or less ruined to some degree, and the toys just aren't where because they stopped marketing to the people that were actually buying the stuff. So what would I be going to Comic-Con except going on Chris's panel, hopefully? Yeah,
no, it's wild, man. I mean, San Diego, Doctor Who used to rule Sundays at San Diego Comic-Con. It's non-existent now, right? It's like you can't ruin the franchise and expect people to show up for you. And I don't know. I think the damage is done with the MCU, man. Look, even if they were there this year, I don't think the hype would be there.
But what would they even talk about? What would they talk about? Wonder Man?
Doomsday.
Like, there's nothing else coming up that's, in the pipeline between now and the next Comic-Con next year. They don't have anything coming up.
Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man 4, Doomsday.
Ironheart's already passed. So it's because this is end of July. So we're talking about, they got Marvel Zombies, they got Eyes of Wakanda, and they got potentially Wonder Man for the rest of the year. And then next year, nothing until, I guess, Spider-Man?
Yeah, talk about your canceled Black Panther video game that got an entire studio closed.
or that, yeah.
They don't have anything coming up, so there's nothing for them really to talk about.
Wait, did Spider-Man 4 get pushed back too, or is it just
no? It's next year. It's just next year.
It's still coming out summer of next year.
And my understanding is, by the way, did the show get better after I left? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it did.
Oh, that's excellent. But my understanding is the events in Spider-Man happened before Doomsday anyways.
I thought it was supposed to be a bridge movie that is supposed to take place directly between Doomsday and Secret
That's
Wars.
what I thought, Badger.
God.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, do you realize how many loose ends there are? If you look at the Phase 4 and 5 movies, like the post-credit scenes, there are so many loose ends. I've always said the only fun way to resolve it is have Lewis from Ant-Man come out and tell some crazy convoluted story about all those things. It would be funny. It'd be a great way to write all that stuff off and then have something involving Kang. There's got to be a Kang payoff. Like Kang was always misdirected.
I don't know, man. I think they're scared to touch Kang right now.
Just let it go.
Just kill off all the characters.
Just let them go.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's smart. They're doing what we've said we want them to do which is take a break. It's too much. 3 movies in 1 year. All the Disney Plus shows, in my opinion, really diminished the brand because then the movies became homework. And me, I'm a weird purist with this stuff, and I know I'll get hate for saying this. I only care what happens in the movies. Nothing else matters to me. It happens in the movies. The comics are a separate thing. That's fine. They can be inspired. That's fine. Other things are separate. But the movies, that's what I care about when it comes to Star Wars or Marvel, just the movies. Now, I can go off and appreciate comic runs and all that. You know, the first 100 issues of FF, Kirby and Lee, like there's a lot to love. But if you're just a normie movie fan, like when you go to Target and they're selling Star Wars and Marvel shirts, like that was a thing that was cool. Now when I see someone with a Target shirt where I'm like, you got that Nirvana shirt at Target, right? You just that's what you got at Target. Not like you didn't go to a show or, you know, you didn't like get some punk rock $5 one outside of a show where it fell apart. Like it's nerd stuff is mainstream. You, Rob, all the members of the panel that are old enough to remember, nerd stuff was not always cool. And I feel like
no.
It's
I blame the Big Bang Theory.
Do you know how many times I was called fag in high school?
Yeah,
a lot.
Do it. It's contextual.
Just for liking comics and liking nerd shit, I was called the F word, whatever you want to say. And the tide turned, right? The tide turned, and now nerd stuff is cool. When I first started working at G4, 2005, March of 2005, it was not cool then.
No, it wasn't.
Liking Star Wars was nerdy, and liking Star Trek was nerdier than that, and I liked both of them. So, like, yes, there was levels. I just want to say, Chris, because you're talking about canon, like the comics and all that. Yeah. Just pick a canon and stick to it, please. Right. Because Disney contradicts its own canon in the MCU. The whole Star Wars with Andor, they wrote a whole comic. The whole point was Disney said, hey, look, we're going to get rid of all the expanded universe, but everything we produce is canon and will make sense. And they had a comic, and Cassian Andor showed how we met K2SO, and that was canon, and that was sold that way. And then Tony Gilroy came in and changed it. And they don't even pay attention to their own shit that they say is canon and then sell things based on that promise. So if you can't keep track, how am I supposed to keep track?
Well, that's because they fundamentally don't understand these characters
or care.
Yeah. Nerd culture going mainstream. I've always blamed the Big Bang Theory television show for that, which is super annoying. But I'm with you, Chris. Like only the movies, Marvel movies, really matter to me, because it was so easy to keep track of the phases of Marvel, going and seeing movies that came out, because it's not a lot of time. You know, like 2.5 hours, not a lot of time in your day. Whereas you have to get Disney Plus and you have to invest multiple hours watching all of these shows. And it's too much time. It's too much to keep track of, especially when they have filler episodes and some things don't really matter. It's too much time for me to invest in shows that are terrible, in my opinion. Because I've watched 3 of them and I didn't really like them. They were fine. But I mean, if we were to have a Hawkeye movie, or a Loki movie, I feel like it would have been better than what was on Disney Plus. So I like the movies, and everything else I'm not going to keep track of. And I don't think a lot of regular people are the same. Regular people have, normal jobs, 9 to 5. They don't have all this time to invest in all of these, keeping track of all of these shows. So all of those Marvel shows just completely were a detriment to Marvel itself. And depending so much on those shows was a stupid idea.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say this. They might Marvel may not be at Hall H this year, but in 2026, that RDJ will be there. Much of the cast will be there for Doomsday. They will debut, if not a trailer, It's a show footage they won't show anywhere else. They will be the talk of Comic-Con in a year. But for now, put it on ice. It's what most of us have been saying they should do anyways. So I say go at it.
Yeah,
So,
you heard it here. Chris promises Simu Liu will be at Comic-Con next year.
and Alan will, and that you won't see Alan and Simu in the same place at the same time, which I have questions about. So we'll discuss that at another time. All right.
But also, this isn't the first time Marvel has skipped Comic-Con. So I mean, they've skipped
several other,
or DC for that matter. But guess what? Marvel does have some big news, and if you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you are in luck because there are Fantastic Four Cereal Collabs that you can consume and collect. I still have the Superman and Batman cereal box from Batman v Superman. They've got their pop-up, they foil, they're really good boxes. I have a Rey Star Wars. I do. I have it. Well, I am ashamed to admit it. But let's watch this reveal video of the Fantastic Four cereals.
All right.
How did Johnny get stuck with Honey Nut Cheerios?
I feel like Grimm should be on granola or something.
Hey, I like Honey Nut Cheerios. What the fuck?
Reese's Puffs, I get. Cinnamon Toast Crunch for Reed. He gets the best one.
Hey, Honey Nut Cheerios is the healthiest one there.
Yeah,
really
none of this is healthy. It's all bad for you.
Yeah.
But
Dante believed the heart health propaganda from Big Cereal.
I thought that was just on regular Cheerios, the heart health.
Oh, not the Honey Nut? Damn.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a prize. You just get a box that has
depression is the prize.
Yeah,
you
like
get.
what's the point of that if there's no prize? What?
Yeah,
you don't have a little Fantastic Four decoder ring in there? Come on.
Yeah, see, that would be cool. That would be cool. But
Sue is Irish, by the way.
There's a rainbow cylinder inside of the Pedro one. You just have to.
Oh God.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Is this look, by the way, I was at Monsterpalooza this weekend. I saw the most one guy there, this guy named Miles from the UK, had the best curated collection of nerd shit. It's really obscure stuff. And I was the kind of person when I was a kid, I collected the UPC codes off the backs of Pop-Tarts to send in to get the rare item. And I still have some of that stuff. So I can appreciate this, but it's not as inspiring as it used to be. Remember when they would do a cereal, Batman cereal or C3POs, they'd actually do a custom cereal. The cereal that I have.
Oh yeah, I had Mr. T, man. Mr. T cereal was like, it was terrible, but I had it.
Yes, Mr. T. I had the Batman and Superman cereal from Batman v Superman. The Superman had the most unfortunate flavor. It was chocolate strawberry. Sounds better than it is. It was awful. I ate one box.
Oh, that milk must have been awful at the end.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But the promotion for FF will continue. Let's look at this. Another thing here. I'm going to share with this. Vanessa Kirby gives 4 words to describe each Fantastic Four member. Badger, if you'd read this.
Oh, sure. Sue, she describes herself as loving, strong, badass, and soulful. Reed, she describes Pedro Pascal, but Reed, sexy, hot, genius, special. Well, I do agree with that last one.
I agree with
Yes.
special. I agree with special.
Ben, he's gentle and giant, deep, wry, and brotherly.
Oh, that's 5 words.
Interesting. She put a little thing. Johnny, he's naughty, funny, cool, and well dressed. Then they put a thing together, so I guess that counts as one.
He got the most words. There's definitely something going on there. She's
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. She calls Johnny gorgeous.
Yeah, there you go. This is, I mean, that's like a junket style interview. Wait, read this one, Badger.
I do. Yeah, for 4 words. 1, I want to die.
That's good. Oh, that's good. Oh man. Well, there's going to be a lot more FF. What do we think of? I mean, it's generally been like, okay, it doesn't look bad. Everyone seems to love the look, right? The look of the FF, that sort of retro future 60s. Very optimistic. What do we think?
I think honestly that I really, really love Vanessa Kirby, and what I'm hoping is that my love for her cancels out my hatred of Pedro Pascal, and maybe somehow they just combine, and that way I could just tune them both out, and maybe the movie would be good.
The charisma and team dynamic better be strong, and I've yet to see evidence.
Yes.
Of that.
The problem is she has more charisma, and she can act circles around him. So you know what? She's going to be the leader of the team. It's Sue Storm,
Johnny and Grimm.
It's Sue Storm and the other guys. That's what we're going to watch.
Well,
she is the only one that she labeled as strong and badass. So,
well, I'll just say this: based on her age, which she's 38. I love that, a little older Sue than from the comics. But she is Britain's MILF. I think I want to see if there's a plot line involving getting stuck in a dryer. That could be a whole other stuck in a dryer. Turning invisible doesn't help. I don't know. I think she's probably the best cast of all of them. Reed is the most miscast, in my opinion.
So how would she get out? That's I'm trying to figure.
I mean, do you think there's a chance his performance will win us over, though?
I think she will.
I mean him, Pedro.
Him? I don't know. I didn't hear anything good or bad about Reed. So I just heard that the effects of him stretching are not great. And to me, the way Kirby drew Reed in the first 100 issues of the FF, just my imagination, and even in the cartoons, you'd hear the sound of him stretching like like a weird sort of like, I can't believe there have been this many FF movies and they've never gotten the effects right for stretching. We now live in an age digital where it's possible to make it look cool. And I think it's going to be weak. I'm just based on what I've seen, which isn't much. So make of that what you will. Any other thoughts?
Yeah. Again, I want to just like him more.
Same.
I hope Robert's right that Pedro can I don't know, work a fucking miracle to make us see through it. Because hey, I thought Cynthia Erivo, and she's batshit, but I watched Wicked, and boy, they're good, and made me believe in the character. So I don't know if he's capable of that anymore. I really don't.
Well, I don't know. Pedro, by the way, was not the first choice for Reed. There were a lot of actors rumored who passed on this, or they met with, including add ones that I forgot. Adam Driver, right? Like John Krasinski might have done it. I mean, maybe they got a look at the script and thought, I'm going to do this for a decade. Yeah. Who are some other people that were rumored to have tried
David
out?
Tennant said he wanted to do it, right?
I think he might have been good.
Yeah.
They all turned it down for a reason.
So. Yeah, exactly.
They all turned it down for a reason. There's a reason.
Matt Shackman, I question him as the director of whether that was the right person for this particular film.
Not just the last 3 Marvel movies are all from TV directors. And what that tells me is, and Rob, you know about this, in the world of TV, the producer has more control than the director. In the world of film, the director generally has more power to present a vision. But I think that Feige is managing this like these are TV shows. And I think it shows with weak directors.
Well, and what happens is on a TV show, a director, you get to turn in your cut and then you leave. And the producers can do anything with your cut that they want. And and unless they invite you, you don't really get to participate in the final mix. And I think like a movie like The Marvels, for instance, the director Nia DaCosta directs it. And then she left. She did what she was going to do, and then they take it over. So I don't think that always used to be the case. because I think what happened with like the Russo brothers, certainly Joss Whedon, who, you know, ran very successful TV shows and made Serenity and things like that, they were probably much more involved. I know that Alan Taylor did not have Alan Taylor was a TV director who came over from Thrones that did Thor: The Dark World, and I don't think, from what I understand, he had a very good time making The Dark World.
Nia said some things were already filmed, by the way, and she couldn't change, like, oh, sorry, we already shot that scene with like a second unit.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of that, so they're not auteurist visions. And I think that when the Marvel movies are the best, you have a James Gunn who was hired to put his imprimatur on the Guardians. The Guardians movies are clearly James Gunn's movies, but he understood the assignment, you know, and I'm sure they kept him on because he was going to control the cosmic elements of it. But like you said, Chris, these TV directors are, while they're used to that, they're used to not participating in the final cut, but I don't understand how to direct a motion picture. I mean, I've only worked on a Skinamax show and directed 5 episodes of TV, and I had more control over that than normal because our friend Mark Altman was the producer and he let me cut my own episodes. So I don't know what it's like, but I can't imagine Marvel's not going to attract an auteur director anymore. There's no way you get a guy like David Fincher going, oh yeah, I got to make a Marvel movie, because they're just not going to do it. And the only directors that are going to step up now to make Marvel movies are coming from TV because they're transitioning from TV to features, and no one else is going to give them that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, will we get a Nolan doing a superhero film anytime soon? Someone of a caliber of because I think that's what, look, I love that Dark Knight trilogy, more of a 2.5 good movies, I would say. But I don't think we've gotten much that's better than what he did since. No.
And that's an auteurist vision, you know, working with his brother and working with David Goyer to write those scripts. You know, you're never going to get that again. That's why I'm interested in James Gunn's Superman, because it is an auteurist movie. It's a writer-director working and doing it his way. And he is the head of the studio at the same time. So at least, whether you like the vision of it or not, whether you like the direction, it is going to be an auteurist superhero movie.
Yeah, but you did just say 2 conflicting things, right? He's the head of a studio, and he has to be a visionary for everything, not just what he wants.
Right.
So can he do those 2 things? Is
I don't know.
Issue.
I don't know. And that's why it's going to be, I really don't know, but I do know at least his movie is a writer-director vision. And you certainly don't see that. Marvel allowed James Gunn to do that, but you don't see that in many other places. So for that alone, I'm interested to see what James Gunn does.
Well, let's go to another story related to the FF. Pedro Pascal on Reed Richards. This is from Empire. And Pedro sees a limitless amount of layers to Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four First Steps. Badger, if you would.
Pedro Pascal was chosen, despite what we've been saying here. Pedro Pascal was chosen to play Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four The First Steps because director Matt Shakman saw in him the rare ability to embody the many dimensions of Mr. Fantastic. Reed isn't just a super genius. He's a leader, a husband, a soon-to-be father, an action hero, and a man constantly wrestling with the weight of cosmic-level threats. Shakman needed someone who could portray both the intellectual and emotional complexity of a character capable of calculating the end of the world while still being tender and present for his family. Pedro was the perfect fit. As Shakman put it, he needed an actor who could contain multitudes. Pascal's range, his ability to shift from cerebral to heartfelt, from calm strategist to dynamic leader, mirrors Reed's own elastic nature. Pascal himself was drawn to the contradictions in the role, a man who catastrophizes on a mathematical scale while remaining emotionally available. In short, Pedro Pascal wasn't just cast for his star power, but because he could truly stretch into every facet of Mr. Fantastic.
Does he have star power? Let's be honest.
No.
Is he able to capable cerebral? I think he's the dumb himbo. That's why I don't believe him as...
Well, that's the thing. Everything he described Reed needs to be, we never saw in any of the trailers or clips or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So either he's just talking to soothe the fans, or they decide not to show any of that in any of the trailers, any of the scenes, or anything that's being marketed for this film.
I don't think he has star power. I think he has a lot of followers. Like that's it. He has a lot of
more
followers.
accurate. That's more accurate. I think he is a weak link for sure in the film because so many others passed on it. You know,
Mhm.
Or
And
is
I
that
do-
the character, right? They see something in the way Reed is written that they go, I don't want to play that.
Well, I mean, according to I reported, all I did was read text messages from a friend who saw the movie. It was I just directly read them, and it's been reported kind of the same. But Grace Randolph, and I believe her, also heard from someone and said that this leaves. She even hates to use the word. It leans heavily into MCU. She hates the word. Because one of the things, it's so funny. I watch Grace. I watch a lot of different people. You know, I like to hear what others think. You know, like
Very magnanimous.
and she always really brings up diversity is really important to her. It's really important that there's diversity. The good diversity doesn't mean the movie is good or the film or TV show is good just because there is diversity. There has to be good characters. But even she heard from her source. A lot of different YouTubers, I think people reached out. I was one. Maybe you guys heard from some people as well. But she even was like rolling her eyes, like she was admitting when she revealed kind of the events of the end and who the real hero is of the FF. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to go. But it's like, couldn't you have these three strong men in a team? Couldn't they just be a balanced use? I mean, is that part of the reshoots or changes they'll make? Like, I'm just if Grace Randolph, who's definitely a cheerleader for all things, you know, Marvel, what if you're losing her based on what she's hearing? That's not a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. She is a cheerleader for all things women, you know.
Yes.
Like women power and all of that stuff. So, but she, like, I watched that section of her video. She absolutely recognizes that the Fantastic Four are a team and they work together. And the fact that, you know, we have one member of the team basically doing all of the work while what are the men doing at that time? What is happening that they can't help her, or that she's teaming up with another woman, you know, to basically save the day. And the fact that she recognizes that shouldn't happen in a Fantastic Four movie where they're a team, they're supposed to be working as a team. I mean, that coming from her, I was like, wow, okay, Grace, she's really putting it out there. She's disappointed in the movie. And if she's going to be, if she's disappointed in the movie, I think that a lot of people will be disappointed in that ending as well.
Very telling. Again, that Robert wasn't excited about it. These are the people I would expect to be loving Fanta. And when they're like, that does not fill me with inspiration.
And remember, this is the woman who stopped watching The Last of Us when they killed off Pedro Pascal in the second episode. So this woman loves Pedro Pascal. So it must kill her to say this about the Fantastic Four.
To be fair, that 6th episode of the second season, that flashback episode with Pedro Pascal was pretty stellar.
It was good.
I mean, he was really good.
The show as a whole was not great, but that episode was good.
That episode was. I mean, he I think. Look, everyone loved him in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
you know when he first came on, he had charisma to burn. His pansexual,
but you know, I'd never seen him before.
Antics were irresistible.
I didn't know any of his politics. I didn't know who. I only knew him as Oberyn Martell.
Oh yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? And now I'm very well aware of who he is, and it's hard for me to.
But he does have a trans sister, and who's apparently fully transitioned. You know, and he's got to stick up for family too. So
sure, protect the dolls.
But you know,
his acting in Game of Thrones is outstanding. That charisma coming through, it's really good.
It
almost feels as if the more he is risen in Hollywood, the more he knows how untouchable he is in Hollywood, the worse his acting has gotten.
I agree.
A little bit. So it's kind of this. I'm too good for these roles, so I'll just phone it in type of thing. I don't know how to explain it, but
he was like he was one of the villain. He was a villain in The Equalizer 2 with Denzel, and he was pretty good in that, you know. And as a former partner turned bad guy, And I do feel like he's just, even the Mandalorian. I'm sorry, his voice in the Mandalorian is not very good. He does not bring that Clint Eastwood man with no name charisma.
He's way too hit and miss, man. Because he was good in the he was good in that movie with Nicolas Cage. I can't remember the long title of that movie.
Unbearable weight.
Unbearable weight of talent or something.
He was
like
great.
Yeah, something like that. He was good. He was good in that.
Yeah,
He was also the villain in Wonder Woman 1984.
He was dreadful and awful. Oh my god, that third act was
terrible as Maxwell Lord.
God.
Yeah, Sean Gunn's going to show him how to do it.
God, that movie.
It's almost like at that point in his career, doing all of those movies, he had something to prove. You know, to like, I am a great actor. I'm doing all of the hard work, and now he's just like, I'm already there. I've gotten to the pinnacle. What did he say when he was walking up the stairs? I am a lazy something sassy bitch.
I feel like he did that to
50-year-old bougie bitch.
Yes,
I don't
like
know.
there you go. He doesn't care anymore. He's reached the pinnacle of his acting career. He doesn't really.
Or he
care.
did that hoping it would go viral because he knew everyone was recording him. Either way, he's
I don't
very
think
well
I
aware.
don't think he knew they were recording him.
No, he knew.
I
People,
don't
he
know.
knew.
They knew it. That was set up.
The point is, how could you have an authentic? How could you connect with a character and be lost in the moment and blah blah blah? If you're also thinking about what this is going to mean for the community and I just don't think he's focused on the acting anymore. I think he's focused on all the other stuff.
We've got a lot of soups, and a story we'll end the show with, but let's go to these soups here because there are a bunch. If you could rapid fire these, Badger, it'd be, go top to bottom.
Rudy for 2. I think Gunn lands the Superman plane. Have faith.
Track record. Think of his track record.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Napski for 5. I think it would have been more interesting to see Gareth Edwards take a shot at Superman instead of Gunn, who should be doing Brightburn 2 instead.
Not sure if I agree. I think Gunn has the heart, and I don't know that I've seen a lot of that from Gareth. Although I liked his first movie he made with Scoop McNairy, Monsters.
That was his best
great
movie.
one.
That was his best movie in his first movie.
Creator was a real disappointment, I thought.
Yeah, effects-wise, amazing though.
Amazing, but I wanted to love it. But
yeah,
Nat and the guy in English. We've been longtime fans of Film Threat. Did you know Pedro Pascal changed his name to hide his past? Oh, we're a small YouTube channel from Mexico, Canada. We recently released an expose on this. Well, I can't wait to go watch that.
wow, put it in the chat. What's maybe someone can Google that, like Alan, and find out what that name is. But I mean, it's not unusual for actors.
his real name's Pablo Escobar.
But I mean, actors
That would make
change
him more popular in Hollywood.
Actors change their name professionally for
it's
reasons.
SAG,
That's
so their
not a
name
big
is
deal.
gone.
But
Yeah.
also, I don't know if they still abide by this rule, but SAG doesn't want more than 2 people with the same name. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people like Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas. So he changed it to Keaton because he didn't, you know, there's confusion, right? So there's a practical reason. So I don't have an issue with it.
Pilgrim Media
It's
for
more
2.
to hide the past of his dad and his dad's controversy, what his dad did.
Was his dad Jeff Hitler?
No.
Okay, well then, yeah.
Alex
I don't
Himmler.
know.
Pilgrim Media for 2. Is it me or is Scarlett getting scarier?
Dude, I think she's an attractive woman.
Like a fine wine. Exel's Abode for 5. If Rebirth makes $500 million in the US, it will make Scarlett Johansson the #1 leading US box office star.
Yep, for sure.
Batmobile for 2. No Karate Kid talk this week.
Alan, you're our
a little
Karate Kid expert. You saw the movie. I think. What do you have to say so we can get that talk?
It's a Gen Z movie. It's for kids. It's not
the
for
hell
any
does that
fan
mean?
of the original in any way.
No
Did we
Johnny
talk about
Lawrence.
Yeah.
No Johnny Lawrence, right?
No Johnny Lawrence. Well, okay. He's in it. Yes.
Bajani Arneson for another 750 Martian pesos. Can't wait for the 2026 with the Odyssey, Dune 3, Spielberg's UFO film, and a Ritu film with, Tom Cruise and Project Hail Mary. 2025 is mid.
Well, I don't know. I see a preview here. This is my Reed Richards. I have this Mezco toy of all the FF, and damn, Reed looks good here.
Yeah.
I love it. I think
Why we're getting crucified in the comments about these toys because this is a $400 action figure compared to the $25.
I know, but even the Marvel Legends of that version of the
Whatever.
suit is better than the sweaters
I don't
that we're
accept
getting.
anybody complaining about the cost of action figures. Come on,
Yeah.
400. Come on.
come into my room right here.
Why does it
Media
look
for
like
two.
why does it look like Anson Mount?
Because that was a
Right.
Chad.
He would have been
Doesn't
good too. He would have been good, I think, as Reed.
He would have been good as, but he already,
He's got it. Yeah. There, Alan's got the best action figure right there.
Yeah, look at that.
There it is.
I think I spent $5 on this one.
Well, there you go.
Classic
Pick your
Chewie.
poison.
That's the original too. This is
Cool.
original Chewbacca.
What the hell was
All
his
right.
name? The guy that could scream.
Chewbacca.
No, not him. Chewbacca. The Anson Mount's character.
Black
Bolt.
Black
Black
Bolt.
Bolt. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pilgrim Media for 2. Hey guys, have you heard Superman by James Gunn? Yeah, I've heard it was Superman.
Yeah,
with
it's coming.
his dog and everything.
James Gunn is, yeah.
Royston S. Bailey for 2. The British do whimsy well, Rob.
You know what? They do, but they have a different brand of whimsy than the Japanese do. But they do whimsy well. And I think that's why we get things like Harry Potter and Tolkien from
Doctor Who is whimsical.
Doctor Who.
It used to be. It used to be.
And there's a lot of Monty Python and the Holy Grail has a certain amount of, the whole, all of Monty Python had a whimsy, but a different kind of a whimsy.
A very dry whimsy, not the moist kind of from the
Moist.
Mr. Bean or nothing. 200-watt studio for 5. Why is the threat not defined in the Fantastic Four trailer? The Reed, he's coming to destroy the world. What are we going to do? This is missing in the trailer.
Yeah, I think if you know Galactus, you know what it is, but normies don't.
Yeah. Touch with Fire for 2. Just gave 2. Shout out.
Appreciate it.
The Napsky for 5. What might save the Fantastic Four movie is to digitally smudge Pedro's mustache like what they did to Henry Cavill in Justice League. Yes.
This is the fan cut. The fan cut of FF.
Which AI now would probably do better than
that
they
would be
did.
great.
Stubble McShave for 50 Swedish krona. James Cameron bought the rights for Joe's Abercrombie's book, The Devils. I love Abercrombie's writing. Most anticipated movie after Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the World of Real story? I know people don't give the World of Real the great
Jordan Rumi.
Yeah, I did a piece on it last night. But Project Hail Mary, I've stated it is going to win the Best Picture for a cat. It is going to be the first science fiction movie to win the Best Picture Oscar.
Wow.
I'm going out on a limb saying that.
I watched you, Rob. I don't know. I'm excited. You got me excited.
But I don't know if the reports, if Project Hail Mary gets moved up into 2025, which I don't necessarily believe.
Do they have a director yet? Do they have a cast?
No, it's
yet,
already
or?
been shot.
Oh.
They're in post, and this World of Real. We saw 8 minutes of it at CinemaCon. Did you see that?
I didn't see it. Alan.
The Amazon presentation at CinemaCon was the most impressive presentation. They've got a just banger after banger. They're also doing Masters of the Universe, which they showed like a 5-minute. If you had asked me, 6 months ago if I was going to be excited for a Masters of the Universe movie, I would have said no, until I saw that 5 minutes of footage. I was like, wow, they nailed this. The people, there's gonna be no fanboys arguing over this when they see it, because it's incredible. And you've got Guy Hendricks Dias, the production designer from X2, from Inception, who I know.
I assure you, Robert, fanboys will be fighting, but it'll still probably be more good than bad.
I don't know, man. Seeing Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms, the costumes alone, the costume for Sorceress is amazing. And they were it's kind of the way that early Marvel did like Thor's costume and Captain America's costume when he finally was given they've done the perfect I don't even know why I'm off on this tangent, but they've done the perfect job of taking the classic animated costumes and turning them into movie costumes. It's amazing.
So it looks better than the Courtney Cox movie from 1985, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, everything looks better. I mean, but Project Hail Mary is the stuff.
Chris is going to beat me if I don't keep reading. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sailor Mercury.
these
I'm
quick.
sorry. I agree. Starting with Galactus is ridiculous. It's like making a Dragon Ball movie and starting with Frieza.
I don't like where they're starting. Tell some other stories.
Royston S. Bailey for 2. Zeitgeist ready for soups. Yes, an okay film will break 1 billion. Correct. 200-watt studio for 5. The shark was barely shown in Jaws, but the treat was there. You felt it. Galactus is a great looming threat.
Yep.
Mexican Iron Man for $4.99.
Hey,
Maybe
Mexican
Fantastic Four ends with Galactus being a giant piñata, and they have to blow out the piñata in order to save the world and give treats to the children.
Yes.
Don't believe Reddit. That may be true though.
Jank Media, speaking of not believing Reddit, Jank Media for 10. Did you guys watch Monster Summer? The Mel Gibson throwback from last fall. I really enjoyed it. Feel like you guys would too. Been wanting to hear your thoughts.
Never saw it, Alan.
Didn't see it, but I want to.
No.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Thank you.
200-watt studio again for 5. Never had Batman cereal, but the Bruce Wayne cereal tasted like chlamydia. Yes.
Yum.
Well, those
That's
Russian,
a really
Very
terrible.
spicy.
those Russian ballet dancers.
Dinosaur for $4.99. Hey guys, could you react to Keanu Reeves' Good Fortune trailer? Looks great.
We'll do that on Wednesday.
Plays an inept angel, I believe. Royston S. Bailey for 2. I judge Leadman potential by the actor's chin.
Oh.
The Napsky for 10. Best start to Doomsday. Have Mackie, Cap, and Torres Falcon confront Evans Hydra Cap, who kills them both. Bucky arrives, and he and Hydra Cap fight like Winter Soldier all over again. Bucky becomes Cap. I like it. I'm sold.
That played well in my backyard.
Rudy for 2. Fun Q panel. Pick a stage name. Dirty names allowed. The Pornostar Badger is my stage name.
Yeah, Alan. What's your
Pick a
stage
stage
name?
name. Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan.
Jesus.
There you go. Anyone else want to care to pick a name? An inappropriate name?
No,
Well, my
thanks.
stage name is Ross Campbell. That's who I am in Star Wars XXX.
I was going to say that you do actually have a porn star
You
name.
actually have a stage
You said Rod Campbell?
Ross Campbell.
I am going to
Ross.
stay out of this
Great.
conversation.
Ross Campbell.
Smart.
And I
Rod
got
was a
that
better
name. The character I played in Superman Returns, it's on screen for maybe 15 frames, was named Ross Campbell. So that's my nom de plume forever.
Mega YouTube 99 for $4.99. Rob, you don't actually think casting Hunter Schafer as Zelda is a smart idea, do you? Which we found out is not casting options. But
Yeah, that was a rumor.
do you think it would have been not smart?
Well,
not.
here's the thing. She looks the part. She's a great
Does
actress. Well, I mean, look, that's the whole thing. I mean, when for me, if you're just going to make a movie and you're casting an actress for a part, she looked the part. Do I think it's a good idea? I don't know if anyone actually read her for the part, but I mean, if
we found out that wasn't true,
the best actor should get the role, the best actor for the part, and that's why. Look, say what you want about the new Harry Potter kids. I think that they spent so long finding those kids. I think they're all going to be blowing people away because they don't just have to be good; they have to be better than the people that we already love.
Sure.
Because if they're not, the show's not going to work.
Yeah. We said that they should stay off the internet as well.
Yes,
should.
they
Yeah, for the
should.
next
Forever.
10
Oh,
years.
forever.
Yeah.
Oliver LaFerry Farag for 5. My favorite actor name change is the fact that Michael Sheen is called Martin and couldn't use it because a man named Raymond Estevez took it.
That is bizarre. That is bizarre. Hey, did we talk about this story while I was gone?
No, we did not.
We did not. Wonder
But
if we have
perfect.
time.
Well, just real quick, because he just mentioned it with the kids in Harry Potter. They need Superman to be a great success, and they need Harry Potter to be a great success. Neither can fail. Their junk status, ratings and all that, they need both. And no matter how good those kids are, we still got Papa Esiato as Snape that's sitting right there. Like, even if he's better than Alan Rickman, it is still going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
They got to pull the trigger, man, and say we messed up on the casting. Issue an apology to the actor, and they got to recast. They have no choice. They have no choice. They have to do this.
Okay, 2 more stories until we wrap up today. Real quick, this one from The Wrap. Can Warner's DC studio rise from the ashes with Superman analysis? Badger, if you would.
I'll do it quick. When Superman flies,
Gonzalez. Umberto.
When Superman flies into theaters on July 11th, it won't just be another superhero movie. It will be a high-stakes gamble for the future of the entire DC cinematic universe. At the center of all is James Gunn. Now, not only the film's writer and director, but also co-CEO of DC Studios, a longtime producer, Peter Safran. The duo was handpicked by Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, who, after years of inconsistent leadership and failing attempts to rival Marvel, has placed his hopes on a bold 10-year plan to rebuild the DC brand with $225 million in budget and a critical need to cross the 700 million global box office mark. Superman is more than just a reboot. It is a litmus test for whether today's audiences, especially Gen Z, can connect with a thoroughly modernized version of the iconic hero. For Zaslav, burdened with $37 billion in debt from the 2022 merger, the stakes couldn't be higher. He's banking on beloved IP from Superman to Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings to revitalize the Warner Brothers empire. The path to this moment has been anything but smooth. The previous DC regime stumbled through a series of misfires, from the divisive Snyder-era films to the commercial disappointments of Justice League and The Flash. Even a standalone Superman film starring Henry Cavill almost happened under a different leadership, Michael Bay, who reportedly was eyed to direct before Gunn and Safran took over and reshaped the vision entirely. Now, with a younger cast led by David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult, Superman is the flagship of a completely restructured DC Studios, siloed off from the main Warner Brothers group and modeled after Marvel's more focused approach. Early signs are promising. The trailer shattered DC records with over 250 million views, but whether that excitement translates into box office success remains to be seen. Industry insiders are optimistic, yet all eyes are on July. If Superman soars, it could mark a true renaissance for DC. If it stumbles, the grand plan might unravel before it even begins.
Okay, what are your thoughts, everyone? I mean, it's basically not saying much new, but everything is banking on this movie. And what if it fails? Will the studio be shut down? Will Gunn be gone? Indications are it'll have a good first weekend, but what is the level it needs to reach where Gunn can breathe a sigh of relief, go to Comic-Con and do a victory lap?
750 million minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah,
It's got to do it. That's what the first Guardians basically did.
What did Man of Steel do?
If you account for inflation in the 900 millions, as it was the high six somethings, almost seven.
I think
And
it's
it
got to
costs
outdo that.
225.
But here's the kicker. The budget for Man of Steel is reported is 225 million. And the budget 13 years later for this fucking movie is reported as 225 million.
Yeah, no way. There's
Oh,
no
I
way.
don't believe that.
Make it
I
make
don't
sense
believe
to
that
me.
at all.
Yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
tend to believe that tax credit from the three. Yeah.
360.
Well,
Yeah.
it needs to score at the box office. It doesn't need to make money.
Look, man, Warner Brothers just had a really good year. They've had a very good year. Minecraft might hit $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing
Final
good.
Destination Bloodlines is crushing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think
And
Superman,
so is Sinners.
So Superman doesn't have to do like super great, no pun intended. Like it could do good, right? Because they've had a great year, right? But Harry Potter has to do fucking phenomenal. Like
10
it
plus years.
has to be.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers also
With all the
has-
money that they're investing, yes, it does have to be.
They're spending like $1 billion building a small town and sets and schools for like the 10 years that the cat. It's essentially a company town of old times.
It has to do well.
Also, don't forget Minecraft is a Warner Brothers movie as well.
That's why. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
said-
What
yeah.
Minecraft was.
So
you know,
in consecutive months, Minecraft, Sinners, Bloodlines,
Final
and then they've got
Destination,
Superman in July, and they have Weapons in August, which
But
is Zach
all
Kreger's
that
follow-up
debt-
to Barbarian.
all that debt, and their video game industries were horrible with Suicide Squad and Multiverses and hundreds of $1 million in losses, and Joker too. So it's like they're just now starting to see sunlight with Sinners and all the things.
Well,
I
what I'm
just
saying
think-
is Superman. They might have a little leeway with Superman, just a little bit, but
But
Harry
it has
Potter,
to be good because they're
Harry
building.
Potter has to do well.
They're building
When
a
it comes to
full
DC,
universe
they
with
do
both
have
of
a,
those.
when it comes to
projects. They
DC,
gotta
they
both
do
be
have a
great.
tendency to like freak out. You know, I mean, we
Yes.
saw that with all the Snyder movies and how they had to rework all of that and rewrite
Course
it. And
correct and lead to
reshoot
a
and
bunch of
course correct.
movies.
Yeah, they do have a tendency to freak out. So If this movie doesn't do well, we could possibly see them like scrambling as well.
But here's the thing: it's going to do well.
but-
The question is, how well is it going to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like we all know it's going to do pretty well. I think we know that. I think we know Superman's going to do fairly well. But how well does it have to be? Right? Because what I'm saying is, I think they have a buffer. I think because they've had a lot of hits this year.
It is a small
Superman
buffer.
gives them a little bit of a buffer.
But
I
it's
feel like it has
building
to do-
towards something else in the future. You're talking about this is setting up the future of
Yeah.
the DCU. It
Peacemaker,
has to be-
Supergirl,
Yes.
Lanterns.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
got Supergirl.
No,
coming
I'm
next
saying it
year.
has to do well, but how,
Yeah.
but how well, right?
I,
So if
not
it
only like
makes seven-
monetarily, I think it has to do well reception wise.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Because
talking
if it
about.
doesn't
Yeah, it
do
doesn't
well,
have to make money.
audience reception is going to matter. So it has to
Alan,
do
you don't
well
think?
with the audience as
No,
too.
no. To Steph's point, it doesn't need to make a profit. It needs to do well at the box office.
Right. Like
Yeah,
Sinners.
it
It
needs
maybe
to
doesn't need to make all the money in the world, but people need to be talking about it. And
It
talking
needs to be
good.
perceived that it is a success. It doesn't actually need to be a success financially. So,
No.
like, if it makes $750 million, will people be happy? Will Warner Brothers be happy with
Well,
that
that's my
number?
question, right? Like,
If he fights a bunch of monsters and saves kids, like I think we've just had horrible marketing. If we get David Cornsweet saving kids, fighting monsters, and being Superman, and as James Gunn hopefully intends to have like good human part to that, it will make a bunch of money.
And
But I'm just saying that if it makes 750 million, if that feels to me like it just squeaked over the finish line.
Yeah.
Because it really, I'm sure they would love to see $1 billion come out of Superman. Can it? That's the question.
here's some breaking news as of this morning. And I don't want to turn on Alan Ing intentionally, but this is happening.
Humana.
Disney
Oh.
layoffs cut across TV, film, corporate finance from deadline. This is big. We've talked quite a bit on Wednesdays on our Hollywood on the Rock show about the industry imploding in many ways. Production leaving California. Well, things are getting worse. This is at every level layoffs for Disney. Badger, if you would.
Yeah. The Walt Disney Company initiated a significant wave of layoffs on Monday, impacting several hundred employees across its global operations, with the brunt felt in Disney Entertainment. Affected areas include marketing for the film and television publicity, casting, and development, as well as corporate financial departments. While no entire teams are being eliminated, the cuts are widespread, particularly among Los Angeles-based staffers in Disney Entertainment Television. This marks the largest layoff round in a series of workforce reductions over the past 10 months, part of a broader restructuring aimed at reducing costs and pivoting towards streaming. CEO Bob Iger, upon his return in 2023, had set a target of $7.5 billion in cost savings, which included the elimination of 7,000 jobs last year. These recent layoffs follow smaller rounds earlier this year and throughout 2023, including major restructuring in October and the shutting down ABC Signature and combined several scripted content teams, as well as staff reductions at ABC News Group and National Geographic. Despite the job cuts, Disney reported strong second quarter earnings last month, driven by performance in its experiences and sports divisions, along with notable streaming growth. Iger recently emphasized job creation in other parts of the company, particularly in Disney's theme parks and experience divisions. The layoffs also occurred amid similar restructuring efforts at the other media giants, such as NBC Universal, underscoring ongoing shifts in the traditional media landscape.
Yeah. So what do we think about this? People are mentioning The View and then Kimmel. A lot of people, I think, probably overpaid in their positions. What is going to happen? I mean, this is hitting a lot of people, but when will they look at talent? Already we heard about The View. I've never watched that show, The View. I've only ever caught clips when they go viral for saying something stupid, which is often shockingly.
Yes.
So you see it a lot.
So I do see it a lot, but they were told to tone down the politics, tone down the anti-Trump rhetoric, maybe just be less political. What do we think of this?
It was only a matter
Not
of time.
surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised. I mean, if you produce less television shows and movies, you're gonna have to lay off people.
Well, and
If
also
you
the
move-
money
if you move-
involved is not. There's no money anymore.
Yeah.
There's no return. There's what's really killing it is advertising on television, for instance, regular network TV is cratering.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to spend the ad dollars that kept the late night show going or any network show going. Why would you spend money on a TV show when you could put it on the internet and get 10 times the coverage with that same amount of ad dollar? And that's something, I mean, all of broadcast TV, and that was true. I mean, it was all made possible by sponsorships, from the dawn of television. And that network model doesn't, it's just not working because why should people advertise on a TV show that has how many people watch late night TV when you can put it on YouTube and get millions and millions and millions, if not 10 million views on an ad that only a couple, less than 1 million people get to see.
Yeah. Remember the phrase appointment television?
Yeah.
The days in which you had to be home at 7:30 or 7:00, or on Thursdays at 9 was lost, and you had to be there every Thursday night to watch.
Although we didn't really talk about Tadum on this. I mean, I watched it. I thought it was underwhelming, but it was a brilliant marketing thing. They monetized the marketing for their slate of shows. It reminded me of the I'm sure Rob, you may remember, Alan, and you guys will remember those. They would preview the Saturday morning shows, and they were coming. It was great.
Oh, it was you couldn't wait.
Oh, it was so exciting. And
TV Guide would do their fall preview issue.
Oh, it was awesome. So they took advantage of that, and they're doing a thing with Stranger Things where they're dropping a bunch of episodes in November, and then the final 2 episodes will come out on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, respectively. I think that's very smart. It's a little mix of like the binge. It's like we're going to drop it in November, allow you to catch up, hook you, and then you got to watch it on Christmas and New Year's when you find an hour to watch it. I mean, I think that's really smart. I was really pissed off about Squid Game season 2 ending on. I did not realize it ended on a cliffhanger, but I can't wait to see how that concludes. I really can't wait. But this is not surprising, as we've heard from so many people, including Jim Agnew, who will be on the show in the future. You think he's going to be on my panel at San Diego Comic-Con, that the industry is shrinking and production is leaving California. What do? You don't need all these jobs, especially middle management.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. I mean, the problem is, yeah, it's Disney. We don't care about Disney. They're a soulless corporation. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But at the same time, we already know people who haven't worked in the industry for a while, who used to work all the time. I mean, there's a lot of out of work people, man, that are below the line, right? And that's what I hate to see. As much as I hate Disney, I hate to see below the line people lose their jobs, man. And those are the people who are losing their jobs, not the ones on top. So it sucks. I mean, but it kind of just shows you where the state of this industry is. And what's crazy is in California, film is our product. That is our domestic product.
Yeah,
and it's so hard for us to make our product here that we have to go to other places, man. And that's killing us. So they're doing it to themselves, man.
Yeah. Yeah. When you ask, what do you do? The first thing you do is don't come to California.
Yes. Yeah. That's The more
I mean, that's the reality is Hollywood is not the dream. You cannot rely on the system because there's no work for you here. And so if you want to get into the entertainment business, you've got to do it where you're at. You've got to figure out a way to do it, because coming to California is going to suck a lot of money out of you.
You'll end up homeless. You'll end up homeless, a waiter, or a stripper. That's what's going to happen if you come to California and you want to be an actor.
Honorable professions, honorable
jobs.
All honorable, sure.
Homeless is not a profession.
I don't know.
I'm not shaming sex work. I'm just saying that's your future, though.
I don't know if you guys have followed up. Like, if I could do a whole documentary on Hollywood in the 90s or what it was like to live in LA in the 90s, both Chin Chin and the Petit Four, La Petite Four, that was at Sunset Plaza, have closed.
Yeah.
Now, Chin Chin, Chris, you've got to have gone to had many Chin Chin Chinese chicken salads.
Yeah.
Chin Chin's gone. 44 years. It's gone. I cannot tell you how many times I either had hungover meals at the Petit Four, breakfasts, how many meetings I had there, how many
Or
times.
Petit Four.
Yeah, it's gone.
Love
What
that
about
place.
Zanku Chicken? Zanku Chicken is still. There's one in Pasadena too.
But I cannot believe the Chin Chin, that was like the epicenter of Hollywood actors. You know, that
They've
would
closed in and outs. We're all dying. We're in trouble.
I mean, the LA is a dead city.
It is.
Yes,
It's
it
a
is.
dead city.
It is.
Yeah,
And it's hard to explain that to people who aren't from here, man, because they come here and they say, oh, LA is, there's all these things to do. And it's like, guys, you have no idea, man. There used to be a lot of things to do.
More
There used
and
to be
more,
a lot of great places, man. They're just not anymore.
more and more iconic restaurants, landmarks, bookstores, down on and on, are just little by little going away. So, Patrick, don't make assumptions. There are still smart people here that see the writing on the wall. We're trying to get Justine Bateman on the show again soon, so we'll talk with her. But
by the way, Chin Chin is fake Chinese food. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, but their Chinese chicken salads were great.
Yeah. Well, look, I think make your indie movie now is a great time. I have friends working on indie films now, and there's never a better time to make something under 10 million. Raise money, and Jim is going to come on the show and tell us how. So, and you should watch the recent video clip from our show Alan and I did called Hollywoodication. That's on the thumbnail. It has clips from a different show. I listened to the whole interview. It's fantastic about what's really happening in Hollywood. It's cost of living and an industry that grew too quick because of streaming. So we'll see. I want to end with this, folks. It's June. And you know what that means. It's June. If you are a Dune fan, you can celebrate Dune in June. They rhyme. It's June Dune.
It's also mental awareness month, mental health awareness month. So
there's a million months and days I can't keep up, but I just want to remind people it's June. It's hot out. It was very hot this weekend when I was at Monster Palooza. And I would encourage you to, just watch a movie where it might be even hotter in the movie than in the actual outside. And just the outside world is now cosplaying as Arrakis. But there you are. So a happy June to all of you. Anyone else have something to say about June? There's
nope. Not at
No,
all.
Chris.
Not
No one
at
has
all.
anything to say about
Nope.
There's nothing else.
I'm
Absolutely
throwing out
nothing else.
I'm throwing out a little grenade for you to make a comment and whatever you
How about
say.
those supers?
Okay. All
We
right.
need to talk
Absolutely
about these bits you do, Chris.
Nothing
Yeah,
else happening in June.
Failed comedic bits. Oh, I got
Men's mental health. That's what's happening.
Yes.
It really is. So let's
By the way-
focus what's important.
Wednesday's edition of Hollywood on the Rocks will be earlier at noon because Alan has to take his lovely wife to see Wicked with a preview for Wicked for Good, Wicked Part 2. It's a special showing, limited. And because of Alan's love for his wife, we will do the show early and end it somewhat early. And I have
My movie theater's 5 minutes down the road.
Alan, please. There's no. I want to. I will do everything to accommodate
Noon in June.
you.
I
and-
mean, we could sit around for 45 minutes.
You
and still
don't need to
make
say
the
anything,
screening
Alan.
of
I'm
Dune
happy
over
to do it.
Wicked and,
So I'll probably do the nooner, and then we'll do a show, an amended show, and I have a treat on Wednesday. You guys will not believe it. It's gonna blow your mind. The thumbnail is already up. You're about to witness something insane. So let's get to final soups and wrap up here.
Touch with Fire for 5, going against the grain, but I don't think Superman has to be excellent. It can be good to okay if the universe is interesting. Yeah, that's more or less what
Smart.
we said. Yeah.
I would agree.
Just can't be bad. Damian J for 5. How much do we think Fantastic Four is going to make worldwide in the box office?
About as much as
6+.
Thunderbolts.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Words out, really. Lord Comet for 2. Hi, friends, and hi, Chris Gore. Miss hearing from you.
Oh, Well, thank you.
Right
Thanks
there.
for batting up.
Yeah. Damian Jane for 10. Superman movie will clap the Fantastic Four movie to dust when it releases in theaters. It's not even close. MCU embarrassed themselves with this joke of a film fantastic flop.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Rumble. J Ham Stoneface for 20. Just enough to buy a decent half pizza in LA for the panel.
And my favorite pizza place in Pasadena, Luggage Room Pizza, is closed. Rob, you might have known about it.
I loved. You mean by the trains?
Correct. Right. But
how did that place was great.
The Grand Orange is gone as well. That whole complex.
Dude, that bar was amazing, man.
That bar was great.
Yeah.
How did that place close?
Yeah, exactly. I would go there to get the pizza. Was amazing. They had this thing, the Gladiator pizza, which was like all meat.
Yeah, it was great. That was great. The drinks were great. That whole venue was great. I loved going there and sitting outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It's because no one goes out anymore.
YouTubers watch the show. So here
Gary
you go.
will just drop a couple hundred on Dr. McCoy. R&B, the Dr. McCoy Star Trek The Motion Picture 1/6 scale is the greatest figure ever created.
This was your idea, wasn't it?
Does he have a beard? Does he have a beard?
Oh yeah, dude, it's the full-on. He's wearing the Fabrini necklace. He's got the full-on V-neck. It's when Dr. McCoy comes on board the Enterprise in Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah,
it's the greatest thing ever.
He looks like he's taking a photo for a swingers class.
Yeah, he totally looks. And
that
you know,
beard. He's looks and the sort of hairy chest with the pendant he has on.
You don't know about this in the movie. It's only in the if you guys have not ever read the novelization of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and why should you? I recommend anybody who has a cursory interest in Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry actually wrote the novelization for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and it's crazy.
And
on
that,
his mother having a love instructor.
Okay, piggybacking off of that, Rob, I don't know if you've read the novelization for the Sam Jones Flash Gordon, but that also has some freaky sex stuff. That is, you find out the reason that Dale Arden is so distraught when she first meets Flash.
Well, yeah, you could buy that in Flash Gordon, man, because even the movie was kind of it was
kinky.
It was
look, bring
Flash
me
Gordon
the
movie was like a
bull.
hair away from being like an erotic movie, like erotic cinema. Like it was like a hair away. So like I could buy that from the book.
Ornella Muti was arguably the hottest any woman has ever looked at.
I agree.
Of womanhood in Flash Gordon.
I
Unbelievable.
would say Persis Kambata with that short skirts.
Yeah, but Ornella Muti's like, let me take you to my pleasure moon.
Yeah.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Look, Flash Gordon is about 2 ticks away from Barbarella. Okay, like that's how
same
close it
producer.
was.
Dino De Laurentiis.
That's right. But we're going to leave it there. Here we go. Thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, MK Solid, Atomic Lori, never thanks herself enough, Glenn Nuccio. We appreciate you all. We'll be back, Alan and I, back Wednesday at earlier time at noon. Again, out of respect, Alan, you don't have to thank me.
I mean, literally.
Yeah, you don't have to thank me.
We can order pizza before I even.
Alan, again, as I said, you do not need to thank me. I really want you to go to Wicked, but everybody,
I mean, with the trailers, like even wait an hour.
Your channel, let's go.
Stephanie with My Nerdy Home, subscribe. I'll have some videos later on this week.
Cool.
Dante from Purple Riot. Hey guys, watch this Thursday. I'm going one-on-one with Gothics, and we are going to be talking about Black issues, and we are going to go there. So,
man, I want to watch that.
I might get banned after this show. I don't know, but me and Gothics are going to go in on what's happening with the Black community, and it's going to be some wild shit. So,
nice.
I will tune in for that.
I'm tuning in for that one for sure. Derek Anderson, the DA, shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for your support. Nightcap tomorrow and Thursday at 10 p.m. Pacific. If you're up that late, thank you once again, Chris and Alan.
Thank you.
I got to say, shout out to Tom Sieber in the chat. He says that Flash Gordon was a rare role for actor Peter Wingard. Peter Wingard stars in a great horror movie from the 60s called Burn Witch Burn, a.k.a. Night of the Eagle, based on Fritz Lieber's book Conjure Wife. If you guys haven't seen Burn Witch Burn, watch it. I'm Robert Meyer Burnett. You can find me on the Burnett Work on YouTube.
Dante and Gothics are finally going to tell us exactly what purple drink is. They're going to specify. The MCU strikes back, that Superman budget, and RIP John Redcorn. That's a Badgercast right now. We're talking about all the things.
All right. And Alan, if you
I'm
would
going to do
take
a member solo stream where I talk about black issues.
Really good insight.
And if you're a member of the Film Threat channel, look at our members only videos, a bunch of videos from Monster Palooza, including a tour where I asked you if I should buy Alan this gift. Put in the comments if I should buy Alan this gift.
Bye, Alan.
It's I can't show it.
Bye,
I can't
Robert.
even show a picture of it. I can't show a picture. It's a Disney inspired shirt. So there you go. All right. We'll see you next week, noon on Pacific time on Wednesday. Alan?
Let's get out of here.